What is going on? We are back at it. Except this time, playing with a Rolex. Not gonna do much to it other than fix the band, solder it together. 18 karat gold. So that'll be fun. Got it all cleaned. All right. All right, let's get some stuff to listen to. Ah, excuse me.
Video will make you question everything. So remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's check them out.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. Two families revolved around Latham's alleged reckless driving in the neighborhood. Latham would have...
I don't care. All right. There's gotta be something. Let's see. We will hear, or we will find something.
This morning I'm starting a new series entitled The End Times According to Jesus. I wanted to name it the Olivet Discourse, but my staff nixed that. They said that most people don't know what the Olivet Discourse is. They don't know that it's about the end times. Therefore, if we named the series the Olivet Discourse, it wouldn't pique any interest. It wouldn't pique any curiosity.
Right.
So I compromised. I decided to title the series The End Times According to Jesus and subtitle it the Olivet Discourse.
All right,
Who says I'm unwilling to compromise?
Fix this.
The truth is, I'm used to not getting my way. I'm married. And every man said, amen. Now, the reason it's called the Olivet Discourse is because this particular teaching by Jesus happened on the Mount of Olives. Therefore, it's called the Olivet Discourse. You see, there are 5 discourses in the Gospel of Matthew. Everyone knows what a discourse is, right? Well, in the context in which we're using this word, a discourse is a lengthy and authoritative teaching on a particular subject or topic. Now, as I said, there are 5 discourses in the book of Matthew. The Sermon on the Mount, chapters 5, 6, and 7. The Mission Discourse, chapter 10. The Parabolic Discourse, chapter 13. The Discourse on the Church, chapter 18. And the Olivet Discourse in chapters 23, 24, and 25. And all of the discourses end with the closing formula when Jesus had finished speaking. So it's pretty easy to see where Jesus started teaching on a subject and where he stopped. And we group that as a discourse because he was speaking on a particular subject or topic.
18 karat gold. I'm not sure if I want to even listen to that. Let's see. I want to listen to something good. Let's see. Grace Digital Network, Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, everything is just pretty much all the same stuff. wonder if there's anything that'll pique my interest. That's the real trick. Alright. I guess we'll just listen to this.
And if you play this of it on Billboard, hoping out because music production, I think I want to make fun. I've said this to you in Phoenix. I've been doing Get Hot S4 start date. SCNR.com.
SCOTUS denies Jack Smith's request to fast-track judgment on Trump's immunity claims. The order jeopardizes the special counsel's proposed March 4th start date. This is basically it. Donald Trump's victory in a single, very short sentence. The petition for a writ of certiorari before judgment is denied. There you go. What this means is Donald Trump is appealing. He's arguing that he is immune as president, and I believe the arguments presented, by legal scholars, this is sound, that a president does a lot of things. If you think the president has committed high crimes and misdemeanors, treason, sedition, whatever it might be, you impeach them, convict them, and then criminally charge them. The reason why we don't criminally charge sitting presidents is that they are the chief enforcer of law as the head of the executive branch. That means that we first have to remove them from the position of law enforcement before we criminally charge them. I think it makes total sense. Right now, what we're seeing is it looks like this case, the federal level, is not going to happen until after the election because of this. And what that likely means is Trump will pardon himself.
That would be the best move of all time.
I
think it would be
love it.
so funny. Realistically, I feel like we're going to jump through some more legal hurdles before we get there, but it would make the Democrats crazy if we got to the point where Trump pardoned himself.
What's he gonna be like? Pardon me. And then he'll be like, well, all right, you said it.
That actually does seem like something Donald Trump would do. He'd stand up and he'd smirk and he'd go, "Pardon me."
Can you do that? Can a president pardon
Yes.
himself
No, you
legally?
would just put it on Truth Social. I am pardoned, and that's it.
Wow.
He would just say, "Pardon me." That's a good one.
Amazing.
I'm not asking, I'm telling. I'm pardoned. He signs it. I think 2024 is going to be just balls to the wall crazy.
Why? I think all bets are off. Impossible to predict.
We were
Fasten your seatbelts.
we were talking with Eric Prince earlier this morning, founder of Blackwater, and that's one of the questions I had. With his experience in conflict, crisis, in foreign war and all that stuff, for all the criticisms, I think his insight still matters. What would it be like? Like, is the potential there? Do you see the signs? And he was just saying that he basically said gradually, then suddenly, that with a lot of the countries they've seen in crisis, even during Katrina in the United States, it is overnight, your utilities are gone. This one of the scariest things I think people don't realize, and what he said was when his guys got to New Orleans during Katrina, when they arrived, there were dead bodies all over the place, killed by looters. And I said, I don't know if looter is the right word, bandit, maybe barbarian. When people take all of our, we talked about high trust society, they take it for granted. When the President of the United States, his authority, his position is questioned and challenged, that is someone taking a hammer and a chisel and striking it into the stone foundation of this country, in this way particularly. And if confidence in the system shatters, gradually, as we're seeing, and then suddenly, overnight, electricity's off. Food's not at your store anymore. Internet's not working. You don't know what's going on. In a circumstance like that, the last place I'd want to be is like New York, Chicago, or LA. I wouldn't mind just being on the mountain in West Virginia with some chickens.
And from what I've been told, if that kind of thing were to happen and it was a utility down situation, you got about 3 weeks that you're going to need to survive on your own, and then things will probably come back. But in those 3 weeks, if you're not prepared.
Not if it's a civil war.
Not if it turns into something like that, but if it's like a grid down situation and it's like you got a lot of death in the first 2 weeks, people that aren't prepared at all, and if you're one of those prepared people and you're able to like hold out, you should be okay.
Have you guys heard of a book called 1 Second After? Have you ever read this book? It's about an electromagnetic pulse and what happens to civilization. It all breaks down within a few hours. When there's no electricity, just what happens. And it basically devolves into Lord of the Flies, into just anarchy. And after a few days, people start breaking out into tribes.
Yep.
It's crazy. You got to read that book.
I think you see early signs of that right now, though, right? We see communities at odds with each other every day. I mean, I just saw the story today where Charlie Sheen, the actor, his neighbor like broke into his house and tried to strangle him. Like, people are at odds with one another every single day. There might be other circumstances there, but I think it's fair to say that trust has degraded enough to affect quality of life as we know it right now.
Just think about how crazy it was like in the 1800s, where you're some dude who has a farm, and you could be in a feud with a guy like 50 miles away, and then he just go over there, kill him, and then go back and then come with him.
I mean, this is
Never gonna think about it.
what's the prequel? The like Yellowstone prequel. They have this whole thing where it's like, well, we want that land for our sheep to graze on. Okay, well, we'll come and murder you. Like, they have shootouts all the time.
Yeah.
It's not as far
That-
back as we think it is.
Right, in that one, it's like they were close enough to the city to where there were questions about the feud and everything, but back in the day, some guy would jump out of the forest, stab you, take your stuff, and there ain't no way no one's gonna figure out it happened.
I was going to tweet out, I didn't do it, it's kind of ridiculous. How many people do you think have died? I'm just talking about of all time, yeah.
Oh, there's a number.
How-
You can Google it.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
But like you said, you can't track it because some people just, they disappear.
That's not true. We have 109 billion people have lived and died over the course of 192,000 years. It's an estimate, obviously, but it's just simply tracking population size and growth. And we know about population sizes through historical records.
Except for Tartaria.
Right, that was another 100 billion.
Never forget.
Area.
Yeah, let's talk about, well, I think this is a year of doing your best and maintaining friendships. It's going to be so important to be tight with who you're tight with and stay tight.
You know, we're having this discussion with Michael Malice because he got that bet with Roseanne. And
What's the bet?
Roseanne said there won't be an election. Michael Malice said, I will bet you $1,000 there will be. And she said, deal. She also bet there would be military tribunals at the end of this year, that Trump would be arresting people, and he laughed and he bet. And I'm like, Roseanne, that's not going to happen. Now, the question about election is, what do you mean by no election? I think we all agree she meant it would, like, chaos, the election wouldn't happen. And who was it Colonel McGregor? No, was it, who was it who said that we're not going to make it to 2024's election?
You might be right about that. Not McGregor. You don't look it up on a podcast.
There's a PBD, I think. And I actually think there's a strong case for that. And we joke with Michael Malice that he doesn't owe Roseanne any money because just because Trump's been removed from the ballot doesn't mean there won't be an election. And Michael was arguing that if it's Nikki Haley versus Joe Biden, it's still an election. And I'm like, fair point, agreed. But I'm starting to feel like if it does, say if, it escalates, based on everything we're seeing, by May or June, the dam could snap. I mean, they're talking about putting the former president, I almost said city, the former president in prison, and 74 million voters, more votes than any sitting president. It's not gonna work. I mean, people are just gonna go insane. January 6th already happened. They can make any argument they want about, yeah, but the government will stop them. But I'm like, dude, what Eric Prince was talking about this morning, you gotta understand that he said even police in Louisiana are looted. And we talked about this. I said there was a movie, the crew, the audience, the chat pointed out, World War Z. Brad Pitt's character goes into the store to get medicine for his daughter. He sees a cop run in, and he's like, "Oh crap!" And the cop just looks at him, starts grabbing stuff, and then runs. Cops are people. So if it breaks down to this point, it's not just going to be the military being like, "We are going to stop all of this." You know, there were cops, active duty, and there were active duty military on January 6th in the Capitol. It's not like everybody in the Army is just like a bunch of liberals.
Yeah, it's not like everybody that's wearing a cop uniform is a cop either.
Yeah, exactly.
I got one of those Baofeng CB radios, those little $20, handheld shortwave radios, and a little solar panel. Got some solar panels. I mean, if grid down, we need to maintain communication. That's primary, number one. I don't know exactly the rules and restrictions of that, because they'll be like, stay off of these channels, you can't go on these channels, and
I think the thing is, if we were to go grid down, this is the time that you would want to know your neighbors and know who's going to be in the houses next door to you. Because there's one thing to say, like, yes, we should all flee to the woods, but realistically, if you live in suburbia, you live in a city, you're not going to be able to get out fast enough if the grid goes down. You have to know the people around you. And that's really the big crime of American culture today, which is that we are more isolated than ever, and we are low trust. So we are unlikely to reach out to the people next door to us, and therefore we're surrounding ourselves with strangers.
why do you think people feel low trust?
I mean, this is something they've documented over time, right? Like, we are not a community-based people. We are not as involved in community service. We don't attend church as much. And so I think it's just sort of a cultural shift. Some of it, I would argue, has to do with values, right? you can say we all have the same values, but unless you live and breathe the values, we don't really know what they are. And I think also we are a more divided society politically, and so we are taught to train to look at everyone who doesn't vote the same way we do as the other, and that's an unrealistic way to live.
Trust is everything. Trust is confidence. A government only exists based on trust. I'm not saying trust as in, if Ian tells me he'll pay me back, I trust he will. That's a component. But trust is also, I know that if I break the law, I can trust in government to punish me, or someone else. I know that if someone tries to break into my house, I can trust that the police will be there. Low trust society doesn't just mean we have faith in each other. It means, do we have faith in this system? And as we're moving closer and closer to, or as trust in society is dropping rapidly, it will eventually come to a point where it's no different than if there was no government. So when, Eric Prince is mentioning their guys show up after being called in by the government saying we need security and they find dead bodies, that's a zero trust society. Random guys with guns, don't care who you are, don't want to bother with it, they're hungry and they need stuff and you're in the way, you die. That could happen gradually, as well as a hurricane comes, floods the city, everyone's in panic and chaos, the system is broken, law enforcement is disheveled and looting and running. No, trust is gone.
The problem is, I think that some people they kind of are waiting for it to happen and are like ready for the moment the power goes down to just jump like another George Floyd riots, summer of love kind of thing. Exactly. Like they're not even gonna wait 2 days before they're just like, we are. And so that I'm very concerned about that.
They're already doing it. We are seeing the videos over the past several years of people just storming into buildings and raiding them and taking whatever they want. And you know what it is? There's trust in this. They trust the government will do nothing to stop them. They trust no one will stop them. So the government will, I should say law enforcement, will arrest you for illegally bearing guns. They describe it as illegal. I think the Constitution says otherwise. And then when the criminals come and rob and destroy your property, they say, what are we supposed to do about it? So the system is designed to fail right now. We're already at the point of almost no trust. What happens in the summer of this year when it's looking like Donald Trump will win, or they take action to in some way stop Donald Trump from winning? Eric Prince pointed out the only other time Democrats, a president had been removed from the ballot, and it was Democrats who did it, was Abraham Lincoln. A year later, the country was in a civil war.
Vivek made an interesting tweet. I think it was yesterday. He said, if you think that Donald Trump or Joe Biden are getting anywhere near the White House, what is wrong? Like, the way he phrased it was like, there's no way in hell that's going to happen.
Trump or Biden?
Yeah. It's kind of like, I think he sees something about the way that the deep state works and the way that the powers that be kind of want the situation to go, and they are the ones with all the secret police. So he just kind of consigned himself to it. I don't know if the tweet's still up. I'm looking for it. It's not.
Are you sure it's a real tweet?
I saw it. Yeah, here it is. It's from 20 hours ago from Vivek on his page. If you really think, quote, they are going to let either Trump or Biden get anywhere near the finish line, open your eyes, folks. There's something deeper going on. It's staring us right in the face.
So who is they, though?
Yeah, who is they? Put it in quotes.
Thank you, Ye, for giving us that meme.
And it could be way bigger than the American deep state. It could be even bigger than that. Who knows?
But you have to ask Ye. Who is they though? I think one of the problems with things like this is like, and I think Vivek is an interesting guy. I respect what he's doing. I think one of the problems is it's not solution oriented.
I almost got this Rolex done for you too.
More towards like
Almost got
there
the
is
watch
something
done for
deeper
you, too.
going on, and I think that's
So
our
we
big
get that out.
problem right now is that people are ready to panic, but when there's an issue, you have to remain calm and come up with solutions.
What I like about the tweet, and I kind of agree with you, it's not a
Yeah, I heard that
solution-oriented
it's
tweet,
pretty
is that he's
confusing,
kind of like,
so.
hey,
Good
don't
job.
follow that dangling carrot. That's kind of what that tweet read to me.
Interesting.
Well, if they don't let the person who wins the election win, there's going to be a kind of civil disobedience / civil unrest inside society's institutions, not necessarily the way we think. For example, whistleblowing. The civil disobedience takes place in many forms, and I talked to you about this today.
Do you guys remember when there was we've seen all these parents going to school boards and complaining, and then there was one, I can't remember where it was, where all the parents just among themselves voted to replace the board, and they said that's not the official procedure, so it doesn't count. But all the parents there were like, nope, we've all voted, we are now the school board. There's going to be an interesting clash between populism and credentialism, where you will have in a small town, let's say this is a town of 5,000 people, and they'll all be like, who here is in agreement that we should do X? And they'll go, ah, and everyone cheers. and you'll have three guys, the official law enforcement chiefs or whatever, being like, no, because we're actually in charge. And that's going to create an interesting conundrum, conflict between what these people end up doing and how the state level, county level, or federal level authorities respond to these kinds of conflicts.
I don't think they can handle it if it's in mass, if it's a numbers game, right?
Agreed. There's not enough law enforcement to handle populist
Uprising.
Right.
And I don't mean violent uprising. That's not. I'm talking about kind of you're talking about like a disobedience inside the corporation or the NGO.
Well, not even that. I'm saying like 5,000 residents of a small town somewhere just all come out one day and say, our sheriff has abandoned us and is allowing illegal immigrants to run rampant through our country. We are taking control, we the people. And so it will come to a point where they're going to go, yes, but elections are held based on these procedures and you have to do it this way. And they're going to say, we're all of the people who live here and we all agree we will do it the way we want.
Right, governments only operate on the consent of the governed, right?
Except the reality of it right now is the people are subjects of the federal government. And so the authorities, this is like what we saw with the parents. The parents said, we hereby vote you out. And the board were like, nope, we're the official board, you can't do it. And so I don't even know where that went. But it's going to come to the point where grassroots individuals shift their confidence, their trust in what they believe, but government will not let that power go.
Have you noticed, James, that disobedience has been on the rise within corporations and
100%. It's in the last month. So I mean, whistleblowing involves a crisis of conscience. They have to weigh their loyalty to the organization versus to the public interest. And I think that, you know, with the story that we're going to talk about here tonight with these airline pilots, actually St. Clair, did you see that video this week?
Oh yeah.
It was just like an explosion. It's just everything's sort of been festering and getting to this point, and it just blew open like this little sieve of pilots. I did a Spaces with her, and I would say about 70% of airline pilots are more conservative, and about 80 to 90% of the ticket agents are more liberal. So, you know, these people inside the airlines, you know, they're begging me to do something about it. You know, expose these buses are dropping people off. So it's remarkable. It's a remarkable scene. I mean, I was cornered in the airport by these airline workers. It was like the Sami stop, the Soviet Union. Don't like you're whispering. I don't want to be seen with you. The buses are pulling up in 20 minutes. So that's a new phenomenon, and they could lose their jobs. And then one of the people has a husband, and she doesn't want her husband to know that she's talking to me. You know what I mean? These are incredible moments that I've never experienced before.
I think it has a lot to do with this growing realization, I suppose. It's very simple. When I've talked about for the past several years, if you keep your head down and keep your mouth shut and keep working for companies because your argument is, I have a family, I have children to feed. There's a lot of people who are like, Tim, you don't have kids, you don't understand how hard it is, I can't lose my job, how will my kids eat? The attitude, you know, my attitude is like, you are absolutely correct. That does not change the fact you are standing with Satan.
yeah, because not everyone can grow food. You can get a vertical little garden in your kitchen, but like if you've known for a decade that you could get a vertical farm in your kitchen and grow a little bit of crops for your kids to eat, and you haven't done it yet, you might want to question your sanity.
Well, it's this. To all the people out there who say, you know, I would not blow the whistle, I see, like, you know, James is mentioning a lot of people are stepping forward. Now, more people, the attitude, you know, my attitude is like, you are absolutely correct. That does not change the fact you are standing with Satan.
Yeah, because not everyone can grow food. You can get a vertical little garden in your kitchen, but like if you've known for a decade that you could get a vertical farm in your kitchen and grow a little bit of crops for your kids to eat, and you haven't done it yet, you might want to question your sanity.
Well, it's this. To all the people out there who say, you know, I would not blow the whistle, I'm seeing, like, you know, James is mentioning a lot of people are stepping forward. Now, more people are coming forward. I think the point is they're realizing this point. And this point is, did you think when, and is this figurative or literal, depending on how you want to take it, if you're a person of faith or not?
All right, bring it back. I'm back. I'm back.
Did you think the devil, when offering you a deal, would only offer you luxury instead of necessity? It's an absurd proposition. A deal with the devil isn't, how would you like an infinity pool and a golden statue of yourself? Because people don't care about those things. The deal with the devil is always, how would you like your children to have full bellies every night? Serve me on your knees, and I will make sure your children are fed.
Yeah.
And so I understand the terrifying nature of the Faustian deal. But so many people, when I heard this from Owen Schroyer about the prison guards, I'm like, those guards saying, I know your work, I like what you do, I'm just doing my job. What they are telling you is, I signed the devil's contract.
I think a lot of people though it's like Eric Metaxas and I were talking, it's like acid in your heart. And it's like, I need to keep my job. Well, Eric says, you can keep your job and go to hell. But my children, and again, I don't have children and I can't fully empathize, but I would say your children are going to respect you. They're going to respect you more if you do the right thing.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
I mean,
very
I'll be
frankly.
honest. I'm not sitting here to pretend that it's easy. In any way, it's probably the hardest imaginable thing. Again, I don't have kids. I respect that. And your kids may not understand.
See, I think it's the hardest imaginable thing, but you're stronger having gone through it.
I think your kids will respect you when they're older, and they fully understand the sacrifices made. I mean, when I look back at the founding fathers, we're talking about wealthy dudes who had literally no reason to revolt. No, hold on. Like, there's a lot of grievances they listed, but these were grievances as leaders, and they were upset about what was being done to their communities and the future for their children. When I said they had no reason, I'm saying these guys could have kissed the pinky ring of the king and been wealthy and wanted for nothing. But they saw that the crown was abusive. They saw that the regulars were abusive. They saw farmers being
Open
killed.
sesame.
They said, we will not sit idly by.
Yes, ma'am.
In our luxury and comfort, we
Is he? No way. No way. He's not with his customer. You got it. You got it. Oh shit, that's 22 karat. Dang, that dude's got a lot of money. Yeah, that is 22 karat. That's massive. Dang, son. Dang. Yo. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. 999. Oh, that's 24 karat. Not 22, that's 24. Nice. Alright. Ding ding. All right. Got it.
Risk our sacred honor, our treasure, our blood, our families. And they did. And that is inspiration. That is respect.
Man, Ben Franklin lost basically. What are you gonna
I
say?
was gonna say, the thing is, they believed that there was a better option for their children, and so this argument of like, well, I have kids and need to provide for them is completely reasonable. I understand that fear. On the other hand, if you are helping a company that is ultimately preaching a world that is destructive, what are you leaving for your children to grow up in?
Just to hammer and reiterate, the reason why I think James O'Keefe is seeing so many people stand up is that they've realized when this is the deal with the devil. Of course it's going to help your family. Of course your kids will eat food. And you are scared about what happens. The deal will never just be to give you a convertible. Because think about the bargaining power of again, figurative or literal. The devil comes to you with a deal. What leverage does he have to say, I can give you a Ferrari or an infinity pool? None. You're going to be like, I'm going to give you my soul for wealth? What does that mean to me? Then he goes and says, your children will die unless you sign in blood my contract. They say, I will do anything you say.
That's right. That's right. I mean, that Elon kind of rejected that premise a few weeks ago, didn't he, with Disney? He's not right blackmail me with money. And I think that's the
Go after yourself.
That's the personification of this movement. I mean, whistleblowing, you know, it's people going against the idea of a social contract. People inside the corporation, the presence of the outside on the inside. These people are. Again, Tim, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I would be perusing my DMs for a week and I might get a couple interesting. I work inside this company, but it's just like clockwork. And I think it's Elon. I think it's X. I think it's the platform. People, I can't believe that people in the government are just sliding into my DMs. Like, dude, at least use Signal or something. But they'll just DM me on Instagram, be like, I work for the DHS.
That's good. You know why?
Why is that?
Because people are no longer scared.
Right.
The mentality is, we have broken the dam, we are winning culturally, and I will no longer serve evil.
Do you think any of it has to do with the timing of the election? Like, there's 1 year left, might as well come forward now.
I don't think it's. Well,
There's 1 year left.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't think you just mean about Biden's presidency, I think.
Who knows what I mean?
whether it's
Right.
a year away or a year and 3 months away, no, something is happening. It might be the Elon thing, Elon's speech to Disney. It's a confluence of events. With the IBM story we did, I've never seen the CEO of IBM there was on tape saying some things he shouldn't have said about Asians. And then he gets on an all-staff call with IBM. He says, no, this James O'Keefe video, do not respond to the video. Do not give a reaction, everyone. And then that was leaked to me by 10 people. So, and they can't
10
fire.
people.
They can't fire. They can whack-a-mole one person. But if you have 118 leaks, it's actually impossible for HR within IBM to do anything about it.
Your ship is just thinking.
Your ship is, exactly. You got water coming out of this hole, that hole. There's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
You know, when a dam breaks, it usually is pretty destructive. And when, like a sieve, if you sieve a balloon and it pops, that's essentially a pretty powerful explosive force, seemingly. Are you concerned with what might happen if these corporations rupture from the inside? Or
I think it's happening, and I've been thinking about this. I'm kind of a victim of my own success. I'm trying to figure out how to manage this dam breaking and how it can be leveraged for good. I mean, it's always been a crisis of conscience with the whistleblower because you have to betray your colleagues, your corporation, your employer for the public's right to know the information. And now it seems people are so fed up, like with this immigration thing I was just talking about here, people getting, refugees, everyone's a refugee crossing the border, here's a free airplane ticket, no security, go fly somewhere, and now you can vote and buy a gun. I mean, it's so crazy, it's like an SNL satire, that perhaps the American people saying, I can't do this. Pilots saying, talking to Ashley, you should talk to Ashley too. She's inundated with pilots. Are they going to stop flying the airplanes?
I remember back when the mandates were on. Pilots were also, a lot of pilots were starting to stand up. I think what we are seeing over the past several years, culturally, we are winning. More and more people.
Be right back. right.
Well, I mean, simply look at Donald Trump's poll, okay? Trump is not a saint. Trump is not your hero, but a singular reflection, a nexus point of the sentiment of the people. People who did not vote in 2020 swing heavily towards Donald Trump. That indicates that a lot of people, not, and again,
This one has to go.
Takes the split.
This
Yeah.
one has to go first.
I know.
Yeah,
I fucked up on the sizing.
he did. 7-inch bracelet.
7 inch.
6.5 was tight as heck. So just gotta do my job twice, you know.
Yeah, they got a nice little bracelet for the store.
Yup, especially with all the fire scale on it and the burnt mark and the soldered together links. Don't worry, I stretched it out. Just joking. I'm just joking.
See this face? This face is humorless right now.
Esta la tambourine de septiembre dos
The
La-
tambourine of September 2.
la antorcha de mi casa y tu casa, señorita
The porch of
De
my house
Chico.
and your house
De Chico.
willingly small.
de Chico.
It's small.
Cool, I don't know, it said something.
Bro, you were just like naming historical figures and they're like Salvatore, Dalai Lama,
Just name it.
Muhammad.
Just name it historical figures. You know what I was taught when I was a kid going to Costa Rica? What my tour guides taught me? ¿Dónde está la cerveza para mí? And then also followed by ¿De dónde está el baño? Por favor, más rápido.
Necesito hacer caca.
Oh no! It's prairie dogging. It's prairie dogging.
You ever want to say hello? Just tell them, me gusta la verga negra.
No. 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 No.
Did
No.
you see that video?
No, which one?
It was a TikTok and it was good.
Are you done with me? Alright.
I'm saying Trump is saying, but a lot of people are apprised of what is happening to this country and the world. And this is also indicative of more whistleblowers, more people stepping up, more people refusing to play ball in the machines game.
It feels like, in a way, it feels like people that are like, I've had enough of this system. Let's expose it and call it out. It's kind of like that moment in Indiana Jones where he's about to take the idol off the thing, but they don't have a bag of sand to put on. They just take the idol. Like they're like, I'm done with it.
I just
And what?
can't imagine being a 18-year-old voter this year, right? When you're 10 to middle school, whatever, life's pretty good, gas prices down, Trump's in office, then you hit 14, COVID, Biden says all kinds of crazy stuff, he falls down constantly, we're on the brink of war in 3 different places, and then you're 18 and you're like, I don't want to vote for this guy again, this is bad.
Well, the majority of whistleblowers in the 20th century, I think, suffered in obscurity. And this Jeffrey Wigand is a great example. That was the 60 Minutes guy who blew the whistle on nicotine, big tobacco, and his marriage ended, his mortgage ended. He was sued. He had security death threats. But if this, the reverse effect is now happening. It's not the whistleblower who's being targeted and subjected. There's this weird inversion that is happening. It's the guy who's the CEO of IBM, who's now being subjected to online comments and who's facing pressure. So there's this inversion in the power, and the social pressures are actually like with DEI. And now we have this new, Tim, you've pulled up this graphic.
Let me pull up this story. A tweet from James O'Keefe. James, you want to read this out and explain what's going on?
Yeah, so this is you're looking at here, I don't think anyone has reported this. At least our team has not been able to find this on the internet. If I stand corrected, let me know. This is breaking news from Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport this week, looking at a ticket counter piece of paper. This is given to immigrants, illegal immigrants, coming in the United States. They ship them from different parts of Arizona to a welcome center, a school in Phoenix, and then they're picked up in limousines. I'm not making this up. Black cars. That's an inside joke. Black cars. By the way, did you know nonprofits are not allowed to hire black cars? It's against IRS rules. But these nonprofits, yes, I'm just making a joke. Project Veritas joke there. So these immigrants are picked up in black cars and dropped off at the airport. And these are documents that were given to me by various airport insiders. It says, quote, "Please help me print my boarding pass. I am a refugee and I do not speak the language. Thank you." We redacted the confirmation number there to protect the insider at the airport. And a lot of these immigrants are not from Mexico. They're from all different countries across the world. The government claims it's vetting these individuals prior to putting them up on planes, but we're reporting that a lot of the insiders' tips contradict that. We found that agents responsible for vetting the identification are relying solely on their word, and they don't speak English. So it's fascinating here, Tim, and just to backtrack for a minute, for the audience, I was outside this airport. The airline insiders confronted me. "Oh my gosh, James O'Keefe, you have to help us." Every 30 minutes, the buses pull up. I interviewed the bus driver. He said he was with a company called Jet Limousines. And then we were able to figure out where they pick these people up. It's at a welcome center in Phoenix, Arizona. And they hire these car services to drop them off at the airports, and they're shipped across the country, New Jersey, New York, and places like that.
And technically, I think you would call that smuggling them across the country. You might call that.
We're smuggling Mexicans across the country.
We're wondering. I followed up with Marianne Williamson last night, whose brother, we talked about immigration a bit, and her brother does immigration. He's a lawyer, and he said that her brother said that each of these individuals should be receiving what's called a credible fear interview. And if you cannot establish that they have legitimate credible fear, you send them back immediately. You cannot take people in.
We haven't done that for years, right? The thing about the border is that this has been an issue for decades, and every political party has flip-flopped it. Bill Clinton, in his 1995 State of the Union address, said every American should be concerned about the number of illegal immigrants coming across the border. And instead, we just left a broken system to get worse and worse and worse. No wonder airline pilots and all sorts of community members are frustrated by this. I just think it's really funny that this Turning Point sent all of these conservative people to Arizona while this was happening.
And everyone in the airport was noticing this.
Right, I mean, that was the thing. Ash was there for it, you were there for that.
Now, hold on. Our crew who flew through Chicago on their way saw the same thing in Chicago. So before even getting to TPUSA, we're getting messages from our crew being like, "Hey, we're on a plane. It's all illegal immigrants. They've got the bags, and we're like, wow." And then they're being dropped off in Chicago.
So this is, I get hundreds of these messages from people and say, I can't say who they are. "Hey, this is my throwaway account. I set up a fake X. Don't reveal my name so I don't get in trouble, but I know the location that we drop off migrants from Nogales, Tucson, Yuma here in Phoenix, so they all can go to Phoenix Sky Harbor." And they drop them off at this school, this welcome center, this school now turned welcome center. We get hundreds of people coming in. And anyway, I'm going back to Phoenix to follow up on this because this is a fascinating story. And they have all these car companies that they hire. I'm trying to figure out who's doing this. Is the Fed, the state? There's a lot more. Who's paying for it? And by the way, one more thing about this, Tim, this whistleblowing. Let me just add that there's nowhere for these people to actually, these insiders to go. Obviously, they can't go to the New York Times because they'll hunt those people down like a trophy buck and print their real name. but there's no one. You got to have guts to publish these stories, you know? And citizen journalism here.
I think it is not hyperbole to say the 2024 election
Open.
is...
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
You know the tennis link that you took up?
Yeah.
It's still way too big, so I don't want you to keep on doing it. Can you please come out and measure it?
You certainly got it. Give
Thank
me
you
just
so much.
one quick second. I'll be right there. No, I definitely don't want you to measure it. I know what happened last time you measured something. That's why I'm doing this job 42 times. Dang, dude, this is just fighting me, bro. I had it perfect the first time. Now it's just going downhill. Alright. Let me go measure this bracelet. I'm back.
I mean, in terms of what this country is, this is it. However, only if Joe Biden or the Democrats win. And I don't think it's hyperbolic. When you look at what's going on, the federal government has been facilitating the mass illegal migration into this country to the point where black residents in Chicago are on video right now screaming. This is no joke. An elderly black man got up at a meeting and said, "Trump, get in here and clean this mess up." I'm like, wow. When the Chicago black community is so fed up with the abuse, they're yelling for a Republican. That's how bad it's gotten. If the Democrats win in 2024, we will not survive 4 more years of 10,000 plus illegal immigrants every day.
What is your hypothesis that are they going to let them vote, or what do you think? You mentioned something
So
about
in
camps, or-
Boston recently passed a bill for non-citizens to vote. New York has had similar provisions. Cities in California have had similar provisions. Yes, we are marching towards. We are a couple of years away. If the Democrats win, non-citizens, illegal immigrants will be slowly granted voting powers.
And they're all considered refugees because they can just claim that. I guess anybody can claim to be a refugee. I probably should go to Mexico and just slide. I mean, this is dangerous, but wear a hidden camera and just go across the border in disguise and just go through the whole process. That would be a good idea if we have any brave people that want to sign up on the OMG website.
What would happen if the U.S. brought in 15 million illegal immigrants, mostly fighting-age males, and then just loaded them up on boats and shipped them off to to Taiwan, and been like, okay, now you defend this place?
But Democrats would never let that happen because we use illegal immigrants to throw off the census data, right? Remember when Trump was like, I would like the immigration status to be on the census, and citizenship status. And they were like, absolutely not, that's crazy, you're so racist. Well, I wonder why, right? Like, this is something that is... The only reason someone would allow for this to happen is if they benefit from it in some way. And that's the issue here, right? All of the illegal immigrants, especially those who are actually, smuggled, brutalized, brought across some really dangerous and restrictive, terrible conditions. I mean, there was a story 2 months ago about a shipping container full of, I think it was 60 people who were all dead. They were being trafficked across the border. This is a brutal problem for everyone involved, right? I don't think you should cross into the country illegally. But I also think that by incentivizing illegal immigration, we're saying, if you get here, we'll just put you on an airplane and send you wherever you want to go. We are making all kinds of people take crazy risks that we shouldn't encourage.
I think it could happen that a bunch, 15 million immigrants come across illegally and then get shipped off to Taiwan to defend the island, or to Ukraine to defend Ukraine. But then they'd still get their census tally at whatever state they were in before they got shipped out. And then they get their citizenship if they survive.
If you're an illegal immigrant, you put it in state. This is one of the issues, right? So if you come across the border illegally, they'll say you have a court date. It's in 3 years from now, but then you never go to that court date. So I don't know how we would then recall all of the people we allowed in illegally. You'd have to immediately send them. We aren't good at that. We'd rather send them wherever they want to go in the U.S.
Tim,
even though they don't have
I tend to keep this I keep my reporting pretty factual without making judgments. How do you handle? I do see about 20% of comments. The kind of the empathy people have for these poor people who are in a horrible place, just trying to have a better life. How do you deal with that talking point from
These poor people want to have a better life?
Yeah, that type of thing you get.
I welcome them with open arms. I hope every poor person in the world who wants to come to America comes to America through the legal process properly.
Right.
And that legal process means it might take them 20 years. all welcome to apply and join our community done right. Why?
Open.
You get this talking point like Marianne Williamson said the other day. Migrants are a boost to the economy, and like, yes, you are absolutely correct when managed properly.
Right.
When we bring migrants in like we did, she says, how many of your grandparents, were migrants? And I'm like, right, when they arrived on Ellis Island and said, now we will integrate and we will assimilate and be like the Americans. That's not what they're doing today. Today they're cutting the razor wire and saying, everybody quick, run! And they're dumping these people in Chicago where they have nowhere to go. And now Chicago's like, we're gonna build mass camps. Okay, look, what do you call large camps? And I mean, this is a literal question, not a rhetorical one. What do you call large camps where they house a political faction of people? The problem is, I don't want to say concentration camp because everyone just immediately thinks Nazi Germany. I am not arguing for prison or death camps, but quite literally, they are going to create migrant detention camps. These people are being shifted in Chicago, and they're building fences, and I think one of them got delayed. But they're putting them in schools. They're putting them in police stations. If Trump wins in 2024, I can already tell you what 2025 is going to look like. Donald, there's going to be videos of people being loaded up onto trains, onto buses, and sent to camps for deportation, and the left is going to screech like banshees, he's Hitler. It's happening again. Heavens be, quick, everyone take up your arms. They want, it's 4D chess across the board, right? Everybody is playing some advanced strategy of victory. Lawsuits are being prepared, and what we're seeing today will have massive impacts in the next 2 or 3 years, and longer, obviously, about the history of this country, or what's left of it. But what's being done today, there is a plan for what comes next.
Yeah, I told you guys this, I think you and Michael Ballas the other night. Einstein, when the Nazis were coming to power, he saw it early and got out of the country and fled to the United States. And
People have already fled the U.S.
I'm feeling that right now, and I don't like that, but that is what I feel and what I see is like, if mass illegal immigration, record high inflation, world wars all popping up all over the place, the people arresting their political opponents, like, okay, guys, and I don't want to black pill you, and I don't want to give up on this wonderful Constitution we got, but what does the country even mean? Is it the land that you live on? Is it the Constitution that's fit? Is it the people that are running the military? Like, what is this country?
I mean, that's the question, right? I don't know where you would like to go if you were to leave the U.S. One of the
El Salvador.
El Salvador, maybe. I mean, there are interesting places. One of the issues is countries are built on a sense of patriotism and a sense of community and loyalty, right? And so you would theoretically want to stay and fix it. On the other hand, I understand the instinct to be like, it's just going up in flames. I need to leave. And I think that there are people who immigrated to the U.S. from their own countries, legally immigrated here, who made the same decision, and I wonder what their conversation is like right now. Do we stay in the U.S. where we went for a better life, or maybe try and fix it?
I met a guy at MGM National Harbor playing poker, and you're at the poker table, you're shooting shit, you're talking, and he mentioned he was from El Salvador, and I was like, oh, I hear it's getting really, really good down there. This was a few months ago, and he goes, yeah, actually, my family's moving back. You're going back to El Salvador? He's like, yeah, crime is way down, the economy is doing really well, so my family wants to go home. And
Better to be a poor farmer than a meddle in the politics of
How is
man.
the First Amendment in El Salvador? I don't know the politics of that. They have Article 3 courts protect the first. I think it's a very important thing in the United States.
I think the issue is not about the Constitution and the First Amendment. When we had free speech in the 70s, they still arrested George Carlin for swearing. The issue is, do you have good leaders? And so my view is, I believe that Nayib Bukele would respect legitimate journalistic endeavors.
Who's that?
He's the current president. Although I'm not going to pretend to know enough about the government functions and guaranteed rights. The corporate press of the United States argued that he was a despot for arresting all these gang members and cartel members and things like that. But, spare me. These people the New York Times are grotesque monsters.
Yes. I mean, I think that's one of the tests that we're going to find here in this year is the limits of the First Amendment, because you talk about camps in Chicago. That may be true, but if that is true, I guarantee you there's going to be video inside of there and things leaking like a sieve. We're going to get so much information. I think what you're going to see this year is going to be horrible. That's the bad news. The good news is all the horrible things will be captured on video and leaked to the world.
But my concern is deepfakes. What's coming?
Right. I think everyone always talks about AI, and if I knew the solution about AI, I'd be a billionaire, because everyone wants to know the solution to AI. But I think the discipline of verification has been a thing that's been there for 100 years. You have to check things out. You have to verify it. You know,
Look, man, a year and a half ago, I made a deep fake of Nancy Pelosi, and it was a grotesque, disgusting picture, and it was hilarious. A year later, AI is so good, you can make a photorealistic picture of Nancy Pelosi. When it comes to video, verification is not the issue. I'll tell you, I'll give you the example. Donald Trump stands up at a rally and says, you had very fine people on both sides, and I am not talking about the white supremacists because they should be condemned totally. We know that video. We know the media manipulated and cut out of context what Trump said. He said, I am not talking about the Nazis and the white nationalists. They should be condemned totally. The deepfake issue is not going to be a video of Donald Trump saying something racist. The deepfake video I'm scared of is Donald Trump saying almost 99% verbatim what he did say, but what they'll do is they'll change it. So whereas Trump actually said, and they should be condemned totally, the deepfake version will go, some of them should be condemned totally. And then no one will know which one is the original video because they're near identical. The left will say, some of them should be condemned? Oh man, he's saying some of the Nazis are good. And then you'll argue, no, he didn't actually say some of them. That's a deepfake. No, you're lying. You made the deepfake. Trump was defending them.
right.
Biden already launched his campaign off that lie. And so that's one example of the fear. A single word being changed, and it will be weaponized, and there's no verification of it.
Also, like a presidential address could be deep fake.
Do you guys remember when Jim Acosta tried ripping the mic out of the hand of that White House aide? And the country was split. Half of people were like, she tried ripping the mic from Jim Acosta's hand. And then the other half was like, Acosta tried ripping the mic from her hand. And no one knew for sure. I think it's fair to say. And they were all...
Be right back. Gotta deliver this. Fine. Now that I'm done doing it again.
Energy drink.
All right. Got my nanner.
all these deep analysis videos, drawing lines and like figuring it out. It's fairly obvious that Jim Acosta was pulling the mic to try. He was trying to hold it. She grabbed it and then he jerked to try and pull it back from her because he was trying to yell at Trump. But either way, you have a video and no one agrees what happened.
Yeah, but to have it kind of quote George Carlin when he talked about the world plus plastic, there'll be a new paradigm where that will be, what you just described, will be happening to everyone. And if that is true to Trump, then both sides will do it. You mentioned something about Pelosi. So there'll just be a new paradigm where people will distrust things a little more, perhaps. And journalism is all about trust. And who do you trust?
All right, back at it again.
Report according to people familiar with the matter, and they're reporting anonymously sourced statements.
I hope we get more Red Bull tomorrow.
They don't have video of, right? So don't those journalism rules apply to this new era?
When everything is questionable, people will simply choose what confirms their bias.
Okay.
So with deepfakes getting as good as they are, yeah, you're gonna say, oh, hold on, was Trump even really at that rally? then you'll pull up the video, and you'll be like, okay, Trump really was there. Did he actually say this? There's two versions of the same event.
Can you imagine
The
a
left is-
riot, and then they deepfake somebody into the riot, and then that person gets arrested for being at the riot?
January 6th
Crap
photos?
like that. Yeah, stuff
Oh,
like
dude,
that.
let me ask you. This is the reality
Oh,
of politics in a low
You're
trust
talking
society.
about a post-truth society.
We are there. If a police officer says you broke the law, you did. Good luck. Good luck. You go to court and you get a speeding ticket, and you say, Your Honor, I wasn't speeding. The cop says, Your Honor, he was speeding. Guess what? You lose. That's it.
I mentioned to you in Miami at the event that we did, the IRL event, that I thought O'Keefe Media Group, a cool thing to do would be to build some technology that can identify deep fakes.
Right.
Because you've got the trust. And that would be cool coming from you and your organization, or an organization that you work with.
I think trust is critical. Journalistic trust. They trust me. Why? Because of what I've been through. And there are other people they trust too. And I think that's critical. I don't know enough about technology to build that, but it's a good idea. But I also think here's one thing they can't fake: the person on the inside going public, the courageous thing. That can't be a fake. If someone says, I work for the IRS, Lois Lerner, or I work for the FBI, or I work for this institution, and you know what? I'm jumping on a grenade for my country. That's a real thing, isn't it? And then there's a reaction from the institution.
There's always
You could.
counter intel ops and things like
There
that.
is. There is.
Like-
But, there is. You're talking about a totally fake world where totally post. I'm a little bit more of an optimist. I believe there is one truth.
I
and
agree
it can
with
be verified through multiple sources.
Like if
Yes,
one
but
guy
look.
sends you a video of another, he basically acts as if he's someone
Let me
else.
just
How
tell you.
many people think you are a far right?
They've been saying that for 20 years, but I've stopped using those words recently. I used to say Dr. Tapes. That Tim used to say 10 years ago.
Right.
Remember that? He's the tape doctor. He doctors the tape. I'm like, can you just name one? By the way, I have no money. I'm using Final Cut 7. I wish I knew how to. They said with the Acorn story that I put CGI to make the people's lips move. I'm like, I don't even know how to put the font other than Courier New. But the last 24 hours of my life, here's what I did. I had people message me from Jet Limo, another Jet Limo, 5 sources, and I was corroborating the information I had by talking to multiple sources inside the company to verify that guy was the real person's name.
Maybe.
This is what journalists do.
It depends on what's in my box.
They verify information by getting multiple accounts of the version of events to ensure that the thing that they're looking at is real.
I think that's what ethical journalists do.
But
And
but
sort
no
of
one
the
no one
problem.
does that anymore.
That's what I mean. There's no
Nobody has the
process
time,
journalism.
and it's laziness, it's incompetence, it's a lack of, usually it's economics. But my point is that video of me talking to the bus driver, if that wasn't my video, which it was, but he said, I work for Jet Limousine. I do facecheck.id, I find his picture online, there's his LinkedIn, I talk to his colleague, I talk to his boss, then I publish the video. So I verified that the video that I've taken is real. And that doesn't, you're right, that doesn't happen anymore.
And
on
it's the thing
social
is,
media.
I feel like, and maybe I'm biased, but like conservative, modern journalists would maybe take all those steps. But someone who's trying to smear someone says, I don't care if it's not real. In fact, I would prefer if you do not follow up with me at all, do not see that I have not.
Or they paint, the New York Times reporters paint this elaborate, using words like document show how far the conservative group would go to not run afoul of the law. Another way
Sure.
of saying that is we check with our lawyers to make sure what we do is legal, but they make it word it in such a way.
Or like this person who has been accused of doctoring tapes
Correct.
based on some random, blog post from the internet that is also not verified, that has no backup.
That's
they
right.
then cite that it's just repeating the lie and making it bigger. I mean, it's the idea of like basically being a Google felon, right? False information reported about you that becomes part of the
Circularly
mainstream.
sourced information.
Right.
Yes, Wikipedia.
If you got a video and they're like, this guy said this racist stuff at the company, this executive, and then
It turns out to be a deep fake.
yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
How do you verify that?
I mean, one of the ways you verify it, for example, is getting it from 2 different sources from 2 different angles, and there are different ways. I mean, there's no hard and fast rule on how to verify the thing. But I tell my reporters, if you put a gun to your mother's head, are you 100% sure that's true before you report it? And that's the standard. And Tim, I mean, it's a good point. It's worth discussing. I think there's got to be a way in this post-truth world to verify that what you're looking at is real.
There are people who care about the truth and want to know and will verify, and I think those are the people who are on our side.
Yeah, they'll be
And then there are
contacting you.
mindless zealots who don't care. I mean, did you see Hassan Piker's response to Ashley St. Clair?
No, I didn't.
He made this ridiculous, low IQ tweet where he was like, oh my God, foreigners are flying on planes. How could this possibly happen? Oh my God, send help. And all of his fans are laughing and clapping for him because it's like when you got mindless drones who don't know or don't care, there are two kinds of people in this world. I mean, the truth is there's like a ton of different kinds of people, but right now, you've got the people who are more independently minded, and they're wondering, what am I doing, and is it right? And then you have the other group that says, I just want to have the pitchfork and be in the mob. That's it.
Yeah, I think 2024 is the year to focus on the people that care about the truth, and the other people are just going to be friction.
Let me pull this story here from Politico. Trump allies and MAGA luminaries move to kill off the Haley for VP buzz. Haley's rise has prompted speculation she'd be a logical running mate for Trump. This is fake news. This is an absolutely fake story, and I'm willing to bet that these two people who wrote it fabricated it through clever manipulation. What I mean by that is, you take a morsel of truth, and you can make it mean whatever you want it to mean. You can make it convey whatever you want it to convey. Take a look at this. The fervent effort to kill off Haley's Veep buzz before it truly takes off has come from the former UN ambassador and ex-South Carolina governor is gaining momentum in the Republican primary. It has prompted speculation she'd be a logical choice as a running mate for Trump, who has maintained a wide polling lead, blah, blah, blah. Her rise has caught the attention of the former president, who has recently quizzed people outside his campaign for their impressions of Haley. According to 3 people familiar with the conversation, quote, what do you think of Nikki? Trump had asked. It's not unusual for Trump to survey donors, outside advisors, and members of his Mar-a-Lago resort on personnel matters. He's also blah, 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 blah. What do they say? He pressed allies for the impressions of other Republicans, etc., etc. But Haley has been the subject of his most recent focus. Haley's polling surges alarms of staunch Trump confidants who are acutely aware the former president pays close attention to survey data, etc., etc. So they're referencing, during a phone conversation with one ally about Haley, Trump indicated that he was aware of the criticisms of her, but nonetheless wanted to get this person's take about the former ambassador, according to a person familiar with the call. Here's what likely really happened. Donald Trump probably called someone and said, yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people in the media talking about it. Well, yeah, how are you doing? These journalists then say, the reason why Trump is not quoted here, if someone truly came to them, 3 people apparently familiar with this call, you'd think they would go, Donald Trump said, in fact, there's an earlier quote, what do you think of Nikki? Trump had asked. Where's the rest of what he said? Why? Because they don't want to get sued. So I always explain this to people. The media will lie when they ask you for a quote. No matter what you say, they will find a way to make it the narrative they want. For example, a journalist contacts James O'Keefe and says, "I want to write a story about you. It's a profile. I'm curious. What's your take on dogs?" And then James says, "I love dogs. I think dogs are fantastic. Who doesn't love dogs?" And they'll go, ooh, that's a quote we can't run. I got an idea. When asked about whether James O'Keefe liked dogs, he asked an intriguing question, seemingly confused, indicating, in fact, he may not actually like dogs at all. When they don't use quotes, they're lying to you.
Well, this, like, what do you think of Haley? They don't say really anything other than it's on this supposed call. I mean, you could easily pull it from, like, a rally. Like, what if Trump walked out of a rally and was like, what do you guys think of Nikki Haley? And they all booed, right? Like, this could even be from anything. It's so random.
Trump could have been on the phone with Steve Bannon, who knows? And then he's like, yeah, I saw what Tucker said about Haley, as if anyone actually cares. What do you think about Haley? As if anyone's going to ask that question, and they run that quote specifically out of context to make it seem like Donald Trump actually wants to.
What do you think of Haley? I think she's about to cancel her campaign, said Trump.
He might have said, I've heard a bunch of criticism about her. What do you think about her?
The way I look at it,
like, I don't know, and he's like, all right.
The way I look at this is a journalism professor said many years ago, he said the way you deal with these is every time they use these, so this is anonymously sourced here, according to people familiar with the matter. The way I see it is you need more of your stories to produce actual evidence. Like over 51% should be documents or video. But this is like the New York Times is using 95 to 100% anonymously. Random material. So it's like taking money out of an ATM. I have to deposit into my bank account because I'm withdrawing upon my own journalistic credibility. If I'm going to say, trust me by virtue of the decree that I'm to be trusted. Tim's right. I have no reason to trust those 2 guys.
Check it out. Story. I'll give you an example of what may have happened. Let's say that quote from Trump is real. So Trump's on the phone after the last GOP debate, and he goes, "Man, Ron's campaign is not doing too well. I'm seeing he's down in the polls." And then they're like, "Yep, he is crashing and burning." And then Trump goes, "I think they're all crashing and burning. What do you think about Haley?" They take that quote and turn it into Donald Trump was curious about Haley's a VP pick because he asked, what do you think about Haley? It could have been in the context of him mocking the failure of other campaigns. We don't know.
And I get this emails all the time, the very last second, or even like while they're publishing the story, they send me, the New York Times sends me this whole thing, and I call them up on the phone and record it, and they hang up the phone. Well, here's a tactic that you should do. If you ever get asked for comment by the media, publish your statement to your entire audience before they go to air their story. There's nothing they can do, because you've made it clear, okay, world, here's my response. Now, I have a pretty large following, and you don't. But that's what Trump could do.
But I think the challenge, I agree, but the challenge is Politico knows our audience doesn't care about political articles.
That's true.
And the people who read Politico are low information
No,
individuals.
Tim, your point about the world being segmented where you're only playing to your audience is a very good point, and I get that.
It's not just only to your audience. It's, you know, the side that we are on is not the quote-unquote right. You can call it whatever you want.
I don't think it is. I
Right.
think it's just good and evil, true and false at this point.
Yes, agreed. They call you right-wing, but you don't come out and advocate policy.
No, never.
You're like, here's a politician saying a thing, and they're like, he's right-wing. It's like, well, hold on. If he was coming out saying, I'm opposed to these policies, in favor of these policies, so vote for this person, I have opinions on politics all day, every day.
Yeah.
So if they want to accuse me of something, fine, I get it. But I think it is the liars, the top-down control, and the ignorant versus those who want freedom, meritocracy, honesty, truth, etc.
Yeah, I try to keep it very factual, actually. There's plenty of facts, just plenty of factually things, David. That's fascinating. Kind of, I love this sort of master class in going through an article.
You're getting a
One of the things that they
nunner.
also do is they'll send me an article, say, please comment, and then I'll give them a comment that's quite material to the circumstance, and they'll say, James O'Keefe did not respond to what was asked about. Well, it's like, print what I said. If you really want to have fairness, which is all these journalists do, but I think it's a great exercise going through this like you're doing.
I think if journalists, maybe if they want to get comments from now on, it should be live. The comments should be live. It should all be on a chat thing on a website where it happens in real time.
You can't talk to them. Look, if they come to you, and like, again, using the dog analogy, if they said, do you support the working class? And you go, absolutely, I support the working class. Instead of running your quote, they'll say, Ian sarcastically mocked working class people and asked if you support them. And you'll be like, well, no, I didn't. I said I support them. And they'll be like, yeah, sarcastically.
Yeah, I think the age of relying on someone else to represent you is over, man. You got to represent yourself.
I mean, one of the other issues is that if you feel like you can't talk to the press, right, they'll go to the person who will feel like they can talk to them, which is typically someone who feels like they have a friendly relationship with the publication. So you're getting a biased viewpoint because someone who's like, I don't trust you, you're always trying to represent me in a negative way, you're always saying I hate the working class, whatever, they are ultimately going to pull away, and so the narrative becomes more insulated that way.
Yeah, one of the things that they do is they call themselves credible. There was one story we did. So that's Anderson Cooper, this guy from the Washington Post, Jacob Bagage is his name. He literally looks like Humpty Dumpty. He has an oval face. And Bagage says, well, Anderson, we're credible journalists. So they say we're credible sources. So they rely upon this virtue that they've assigned to themselves. That they are credible by virtue of their own decree that they are that way. And their anonymously sourced stuff is permitted to contradict incontrovertible evidence. And that's
timing yourself how long it takes you to do jobs?
What?
Are you timing to see how long it takes you to do jobs?
No, I'm just doing it every hour, man. Just using it. It's really fun.
I thought you were starting like a stopwatch.
I'm just really having fun using the timer. Just having a lot of fun using the timer. Thanks for the watch, buddy. Time for some coffee.
I go back to this trust thing. It's just the experts, the credible sources. And now, but you're making a good point. Is incontrovertible evidence incontrovertible? Because it could be it could be a deep fake.
Well, I think the issue is you're right about verification. Our side will always appreciate verification, sourcing, and will seek out those they can trust, those who are willing to
I
admit
hate
they're
saying
wrong.
that it's our, but there is a group of people.
It's a way of behavior.
It's a way of behavior.
And
for
then
values.
There are people who, look, this is why we like Marianne Williamson, and when we're grateful that she came on. Because she is a good person, and I believe she's an honest person. She openly talked about her views, but she gets her news from bad sources.
Not anymore. Not after last night.
Well, it improves,
Yeah,
and that's
it
why
was
we're grateful she comes on. But when it was a really amazing moment last night when we showed Marianne Williamson the whiteness contract from the book Not My Idea. She almost cried. She had never seen it before, and so she's getting this narrative about banning books, and she's like, "Oh, Republicans are crazy." But the problem with Marianne's source of information is that she's likely hearing secondhand opinions from someone who watched CNN and MSNBC. Whereas James is actually recording people saying the words and publishing them. She then hears her friend go, "Oh, James O'Keefe fabricated that video." And she goes, "Wow." Then when she gets into a political debate, someone says, "Didn't you see the video from James O'Keefe?" I shouldn't say Marianne, but the liberal will then go, "He fabricated that."
Yeah, but there are going to be a substantial minority of people whose minds have actually been changed. Like, I hired this guy named Jason Watkins. He's a professor at ASU Journalism School, Tim. He teaches journalism at the Cronkite School. He used to be a leftist. His mind was actually changed. Am I making this up? My colleagues. If people think, oh, that's insane. There are people who actually do change their minds. And if 5% or 1%, let's just call it 1% of people, change their minds or their hearts, then one would even argue if one person changes their mind, that you've made a difference. So I don't think you need to affect the majority of people. And of course, there's people say it's a fake thing, but all right,
here we go. Not being angry too is a real big part. I bet the founding fathers weren't angry guys. They strike me as like really level-headed dudes.
No, some of them were super angry. But it's
some
a
of
mixed
them
bag.
were. Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up this tweet here. Let's roll. Will Chamberlain tweeted out a quote from Nikki Haley in 2020 saying, "We should all stand with Bubba Wallace today against the cowards who secretly put the noose in his garage stall. Watch your back, cowards. Bubba has a bigger army than you do." Cringe. Well, we all know about Nikki Haley's cringe, but Will Chamberlain said, "Meet Trump's VP pick." I responded, "I'll bet you $1,000 he doesn't pick Haley." Will Chamberlain replies, "Give me 4-to-1 odds and you're on." My response, "If Trump picks Haley, I'll give you $4,000. If he picks anyone else, you give me $1,000. Will responded, "And if it's a push, if Trump doesn't win the nod, if so, deal." And I said, "Let's get it, bets on." And he said, "All right, bet." I am so confident. I actually don't know if it's a real bet or we were just joking, to be completely honest.
No, it's real. It's in writing.
Yeah.
Contract.
The world's gonna hold you to it.
Like, for sure. And I'll stand by it if it is real. But Will may have been trolling and I'm goofing off. But, in the end, it'll be funny if when Will comes on the show and then we can, when depending on what happens, if Trump doesn't or does, we'll resolve it. But my point with this is not to actually say I want to bet cash. It's just that I'm so confident Donald Trump will not pick Nikki Haley that I'm willing to make a bet. I'll have to talk to Will and ask him if he was serious about it. But it's fun anyway. And I will, if it is. But I'm so confident that I'm not worried about 4-to-1 odds.
Yeah, the thing is, the Nikki Haley VP rumor, I feel like it's just the mainstream media trying desperately to say it has influence over the conservative primary or the Republican primary. I think ultimately we know that she is not the VP choice. I obviously, I've said this a couple times on the show, I think one of the mistakes we make is thinking that the only options for VP are the people we see on the debate stage. There's actually a much deeper deck of potential people anyone can pick from. It doesn't just happen to be who else is launching a presidential campaign, but I think, there's too much bad blood between Nikki Haley and Donald Trump, and I don't think she would garner him any reader support anywhere he needs it.
Is that I didn't know they had bad blood. Did they not get along?
Yeah, they sniped each other a ton.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to enjoy working with people that he's sniped with.
Yeah, I mean, why would you, right? Because we're talking about trust all night today.
Plus Tucker, so this is what you're taking 10-to-1 odds, is what I want to know. Tucker said on stage at Turning Point, he would actually advocate against that ticket. If Trump picked Haley, he would say, do not vote for Trump. So I think Trump listens to Tucker. That's why I'm on board. I don't think there's any chance in hell he's going to go with Nikki Haley at this point. Tucker suggested he pick Vivek Ramaswamy. I also suggested that. I think that he would be the right move.
Ramaswamy said he wouldn't take a VP pick when he was here with us when James was on. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a smart tactic. If you're running for president, you shouldn't say I'll accept second place, but realistically, I think that would be, because I mean, whoever becomes VP is probably going to be the next president.
I'd rather see Vivek go back to Ohio and run for office there and do something interesting. I mean, he's got so much energy. I feel like in some ways being VP would be too penned in for him.
Although in the age of social media, and he's a loudmouth in a good way, he would make a lot of noise in that office. And I think Trump's his life is liable. Like if he tries to be president again, it's a very dangerous place for his life.
Sure, and he's got a lot of civil cases going on. I mean, there are a lot of things calling his attention.
So I would say that VP role is probably more important now than it's been in my lifetime in 44 years. That's probably the most likely that a VP would become president.
Which is why Charlie Kirk suggested the right move would be to make Tucker Carlson the VP.
And Tucker was humble about it, but what do you think about that?
Tucker wanted Ian to be vice president.
Yeah, he agreed. I thought Charlie was talking about me. Well,
Ian.
Charlie said who it should be is the man sitting next to me, and I was sitting and I was like, oh, well, thank you, Charlie. And Tucker was like, I'd vote for that. But do you think Tucker would be?
Poor Tucker, no.
Yeah. Do you think he'd be a good VP too?
Do I think he'd be? I mean, there's a difference between journalism and governing, but maybe he could do it. I mean, he's certainly got the popularity and the people and the goodwill of people, and that's what you need.
Who do you think should be VP?
I don't have an opinion on the matter. I actually think that Tim is very brave for placing bets because I think all bets are off. I think it's impossible to predict what is going to happen. I mean, if this flying saucer came through this window, that would not surprise me right now. I think
Hunter
all
Biden information would
are
come
crazy.
out.
But to clarify, it's safe to tweet this because Will even said he was trolling in a different tweet. So I don't know if there's any actual real bet.
I see.
But my point is like I would make the bet. I don't know, depending on whatever. But I did actually ask Will, like, did you really?
I think it's roulette.
What are the laws on like making a bet like that? I don't even know.
Yeah, you have to pay
Well, what if it's
taxes.
monopoly money? You can come
Yeah,
on
no,
and
like, is there
do
taxes for like bet with your friends?
I don't know. Maybe
But he said that when he was saying when he said Trump was going to pick Nikki Haley, he was like obviously trolling. He said,
okay.
like he's poking fun at Trump
Yeah,
with the idea that he might pick Haley.
That Bubba Wall tweet is awful so badly.
Can't be DeSantis. It won't be DeSantis.
I think Tucker would be probably a good pick.
And I think he would accept if Trump asked him.
I think Charlie's right on that analysis.
You know, I think Tucker could help Trump win, but you make a good point about journalism and commentary versus actual governance. Being a good political leader, it's not about knowing the issues. That's a component of it. It's about knowing how to navigate a broken the system.
I really like Vivek's move with Strive, this company that's divesting away from ESG. This is what turned me on to him in the very beginning when I first met him. I didn't know who he was. Tim interviewed him. I think it was Charlie Kirk's studio. And I was just like, this guy knows how to solve the problem. The problem is BlackRock is trying to buy up the world, and he knows how to divest our resources away from BlackRock by not complaining. He's creating a new system that we can go into.
For some reason, and I don't necessarily agree with this, I'm just telling you what is the reality. For some reason, the people don't trust Vivek, or they're asking, who is this
playing
person?
with clay.
Many people in the Midwest have said, well, is he like Obama? This
building castles.
very, very, very intelligent, well-spoken guy. They just don't seem to trust him or know him well enough. Like they, for example, trust Tucker. That's the read I'm seeing. By the way, I like most of what Vivek says. I interviewed Vivek. Him and I had great chemistry. He's ridiculously smart. I like what he says. He even understood what I do to a degree that most people don't. But for some reason, people don't seem to. Do you see that? They don't seem to like. Who is this?
But I think that's because he sort of
clearly they're
popped out of nowhere.
Well,
Don't throw the race card around. We're too close to the year. No, I mean, seriously, he sort of popped out of nowhere. You know, a lot of people didn't know what his company did. He wrote his book. You know, it's all very fast. That's why I really do think if he were to, be the governor of Ohio, he can build this national name a little bit more, but also, really take Ohio to I mean, you're from Ohio, right? Like, he could do so much for that state and also eventually launch another presidential bid. I think it would be cool to see his beliefs applied on a small scale first. I think he would gain trust. I think people would believe in him more, and then he could do even more when he runs again.
I'm so in the moment right now. I don't know if there's going to be another presidential election, and that's not even a joke. So, I really want the best right now. And I agree with you that the trust in Vivek it's Vivek, just in case.
Vivek.
Vivek.
What did I say?
Vivek. 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 He came on. He came in like an outsider and like, okay, what's this politics stuff? And you can see him talking and like, not really sure exactly like how much should I say right away? Let's go. And then as time went on, I think he became kind of a representative of what the people wanted from him, and he started speaking massive truth to power.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Whoa, is this fake?" No, he's doing what people want him
What
to
was
do.
the Christie line where he's like, "You sound like ChatGPT when you talk"? Did you see that line?
It's-
I was actually, I'm not a huge Chris Christie fan. I thought it was kind of funny.
But it's just it's
Vivek GPT. Yeah.
Vivek sounds nothing like ChatGPT.
No.
Right? It was Chris Christie is just such a pathetic failure of a man. Donald Trump, more like Donald Duck. And then he smirks like, bro, that didn't land. And he's smiling like, I got him.
Well, they skipped. There was like a whole section of that debate where they just skipped him. He was
I
so
know, it's
irrelevant.
amazing. Donald Duck. If Trump keeps ducking issues, they're gonna call him Donald Duck. They're from a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sold because of his economic policy. Vivek's. It's getting us away from BlackRock because I'm not even concerned about the left-right paradigm, the Republicans, Democrats, any of that. I'm concerned with global banks trying to take over and fascize this country. It's been happening for 100 years. You got the what's it called, the banker plot or the business plot?
Yeah.
They actually Sydney or what's that general's name? That they tried to get to overthrow
Smedley
the
Butler.
Smedley Butler. These businessmen went to, according to Smedley himself, he blew the whistle on it. They came to him and tried to get him to stage a coup on FDR in like 1933 or something. These businessmen, this fascist takeover, and Smedley was like, no, I love the America, I love the First Amendment, and I'm not going to do that. And so those people, that ethos still exists in this country, and they've been just doing it slowly, incrementally. They got us off the gold standard. You know, they got the Jekyll Island, they got the Federal Reserve set up. I don't.
Jekyll Island.
Yeah, we got to get away from these bankers, this bankers union thing, and create a more reputable country for the people. Something with like local trade.
They don't want there to be country. They want there to be world.
Yeah, I'm open to that, but it's got to happen judiciously.
I'm just gonna start referring to they as the enclave. You know, because what they'll try to do is when Vivek says they won't let you do it, they're like, aha, he's an anti-Semite. No, I'm not talking about Jewish people. When we say they, we're talking about the intelligence agencies, the wealthy corporate elites. I'm sure they're called the enclave.
I feel like if there is a cultural war, which there seems to be a cultural conflict, that if we win, if the American ethos wins, that people all over Earth will overthrow their tyrannical governments and create First Amendment rights and gun rights, and they'll take control of their societies.
Guys, I've got bad news for you. Okay, you know, we can sit here, talk about the importance of journalism and fear about what's to come in 2024, but the prophet of doom, a psychic, has predicted cyber attacks, natural disasters, and a Russia-China alliance. Well, the prophet of doom says so. I mean, look at this guy. He knows. So that's it. That's it, boys. Pack it in. You may as well just flee to El Salvador while you still can, because we're here.
Who is this prophet of doom?
He claims to see into the future, and he says that there's going to be. He's got some serious predictions. Big floods will engulf London and Europe. A new pandemic in Australia, and President Vladimir Putin will trip off this mortal coil.
Great. That's the name
You know what's
of
really
the
funny
show.
is like we're kind of making fun of this dude and everything, but what if all this stuff actually came true?
Well, the global cyber attack, that doesn't actually feel like very specific of a prediction for me. It's like being like, there will be an election next year. Like, we know all sorts of countries will have elections next year. I wish they would have some more specific details. The flood in London is kind of a bold story.
I think, right, that is a bullshit. I think the best way to go about this would be to claim that a man from the future gave you access to information about what was going to happen, and that's what is going to happen, unless, because telling you changes history, it doesn't happen, but it's not my fault.
It is interesting that it's a nice caveat for we like, well, because I tried to save you, now everything's going to be different. I just feel like.
Yeah, that was, you guys remember John Peter? It was a meme thing in like 2000. A guy online posting a forum claiming to be from the future and showing pictures of like light bending and the time machine. And I think he was thinking about 2008, the US was drafted in 4 different countries and stuff. But of course he was like, however, that may not happen because of all the timelines. There were some really interesting and very intelligent things that he said that made people
Is he the one who said,
wow.
like, at probably times, like 3 specific points in time? You think that multiple times warning people about things?
Look at this. You gotta look at this. used on Internet forums since 2001. An individual claiming to be an American military time travel from 2036. He's saying that during community that time travel. They published discuss various aspects of time travel and discuss future climate events, including the global nuclear war. The uniformity and accuracy of their prediction and inconsistency in their explanations has led many to view the story with skepticism. Wait, that was it? I gotta think, if a guy goes online and stuff from the future, that instantly disqualifies the person as true. But, okay, like, maybe there's a 0.00001% chance some time traveler is telling the truth. It was a hoax created by Larry Haber, a Florida entertainment lawyer, and his brother, John Rick Haber, a computer scientist. The claims have never been verified, however.
I've read a lot about Stephen Fair throughout the history of humanity, and it's actually more common than I think people realize. It's so easy to say that the worst thing is going to happen and make the claims about all the risks and how they're all going to fail and that's going to cause the end and the failure. But I think it's way more likely that things are going to march on. It's just a matter of staying still, surviving, having a community.
I'm with you on that. I think I'm more of an optimist. I think what a time to be alive, what a time to make a difference right now. And the truth is so powerful. I know it's very corny and cliche, and people are probably gonna laugh at this, but you have a dark room, there's a little flame, it lights up the room. The truth has that power, it does, and I think it'll ultimately win as long as people are courageous enough to say it. And historically, in like the Soviet Union and other countries, they couldn't say it. They had to live by lies. They had to pretend. Even though they knew the truth, they didn't want to say it. And as long as we have the courage to say it, in numbers, I think we'll be okay.
And also the ability to preserve it, which I think storing data in orbit, like we really need to get away from these centralized servers, or at least expand into decentralized storage. The truth can be, unfortunately, on the internet, tweaked in real time. The truth, I call it.
No, that's true. I mean, we talk about this all the time. People like Netflix will take scenes out of shows if they decide they're unpopular or incorrect. It's weird that we edit the content that we have. It's like you're unable to preserve an original document, which is crazy. It's terrifying. Do you have any white pill predictions for 2024? Anything particular you think positive?
White pill? I like that question. That's a good premise. As I said, I think the last couple weeks of 2023 are any precursor. I think you're going to see if there's corruption or fraud occurring, like if there's a conspiracy somewhere, I think that conspiracy will be made public for us to see. Now we could argue whether that's going to make a difference. That's a different conversation. So if there's voter fraud, and I don't know if there's going to be enough of it, but if there is, I think we'll see it.
In 2024?
Yeah, in other words, we'll be able to see the fraud happening on the inside. The whistleblowers will come public. They'll reveal it on video, incontrovertible. And now whether that's going to be shocking enough to people who like, for example, hate Orange Men, bad.
Very bad.
Then I don't know, but I think we'll be able to see it in a way that we've never seen it before. And we're seeing it right. We're going to see it in a way we've never seen it before. I've never seen anything like it.
Are you familiar with the apocalypse from the Bible? Like it's a.
I see nothing, I smell nothing.
School me on a job?
School on a job.
School me on a job? Okay, school me. What did I do wrong?
Oh no, nothing. So I'll let you know what needs to be, what needs to be done.
You're using some weird, interesting terminology there, sir.
Okay, so obviously clean paused it.
Obviously.
This needs a 24 karat bill.
Okay.
Or a 22 karat bill. Do you have 22 karat?
Very little, but yes.
Can you make just a little bill for this?
Depending on how big you need it.
Just a small.
Do we know what kind of chain? 2mm chain, 1mm chain?
So I said just a small bill. And do sometime next week.
You got it. You got it, bro. You got it, man. You got it.
Is it in there? Is it in there?
No.
Nothing's not in there?
I had to do a test. Make sure I still got it.
sorry, I did not.
Scared the heck out of me.
So sorry.
Burst it all in, just woo. You're good.
I know, but
Still busy out there?
yes.
Good.
Yes, it's good.
That is good.
Biblical prophecy, vaguely entering like they call it the end times. Who knows what that actually means? If the calendar's just resetting or something. But it basically means apocalypse means the great revealment. That things are being revealed. And so, what do you think about things like neural net, where people are plugging into machines and we can share our
I
thoughts?
don't know anything about that.
Well, it's just Elon's way of making brain-computer interface a little better than using fingers. You can use your thoughts to communicate on the machine
I
now.
feel like neural net would be the worst thing for whistleblowers, right? Like if the government or whoever was plugged into your brain, you started thinking maybe I want to say something about what's going on wherever I.
Well, there were reports today. Actually, St. Clair reported that the American Airlines, one of the airlines, was forcing people to download something onto their phone
The pilots,
to
yeah.
track whether they're talking to James O'Keefe or not. And I just tweeted out, just go to Walmart and buy another phone and just download Signal. But there are efforts like this, but even that, you know, in these other countries, no dissent was historically no dissent was permitted at all. You know, and now you're seeing the opposite effect. Like it's almost, you know, Orwell feared the truth would be concealed from us. Huxley feared the truth would be drowned out in a sea of irrelevance. So the question, Tim's point, I think, was on point, which is that our audience have become so segmented. How do you convince the people that don't agree with you? Don't just play to your audience. Play to the people who don't agree. And to the white pill question, I believe, still believe, that if you expose the truth in such a way, it'll convince the people that don't agree with me. Like, for example, the story on Pfizer or BlackRock or even voter fraud. The problem with the voter fraud I've heard from the right is that I don't think anyone's ever actually proved it. I think it's all circumstantial evidence. I mean, can you name a case where we've really actually proved incontrovertible evidence of massive voting fraud? I haven't seen that. I haven't seen
Massive.
that.
That's I guess
Enough to
define
swing an
massive.
election? I personally have. I mean, there's different ways that they coerce, propaganda, the media, but you know what I'm saying? I think that there's going to be people on the inside in 2024 recording this stuff, and there's nothing they can do to stop it.
Hypothetically, would you support like a technology that just blows everyone's minds open so that we can read every human's brain?
I didn't even thought about the implications of that.
Would you? Would you
Yes.
support that? Why?
Because we're going to destroy ourselves if we don't.
You don't
That's my
think people
thought.
have the right to the privacy of their own thoughts?
Well, no.
Why?
Not anymore.
I feel like
Look
that's
what
so
we've done to
authoritarian.
ourselves. Look what people did with that. The secrecy and destruction and slavitude that they've done to humans. It's horrific.
I don't like a world where I'm obligated to let anyone read my mind. That sounds terrifying.
I just think that they thought that it's your mind is like kind of out of like our thoughts are not our own.
It's our mind.
It is our mind.
It's the global mind.
I mean,
It's the
obviously
world
we
mind.
have
It's not-
autonomy
it's
as bodies,
My
but
little pony. It's our little.
but these
Well, not really. If it's not my mind, it's not my body, right? I mean, where do you draw this line? Also, like to my point before, that would completely blow up a whistleblower system, right? If your thoughts were public to everyone, we would never have anyone come forward because theoretically they would immediately be imprisoned if they even thought about saying, "Hey, I should report this to someone."
But the corruption would never happen because if someone tried to ruin the
But who
system
is
with like
managing this? The
the
corrupt
whole
government?
species, the entire species would be like policing itself at all times.
Kind of. Whoever's on the top of that structure would be policing it.
I don't think there is a top if it's all
No,
connected.
so I don't think it's a good thing, but I think Ian presents a possible future that we've actually talked about in the culture war. The way I describe it is with AI, with Neuralink and all this stuff, what eventually happens is humans will be treated like single cells in a multicellular organism. So take a look at single cells, right? They're all running around doing crazy whoozits and whatnots. They're eating stuff and making more themselves. They're independent in and of themselves. Multicellular organisms, all the cells have clearly defined roles. And within the multicellular organism, like each and every one of us here, sometimes there are rogue actors. They want to be free. They want to be free and they want to do whatever they want to do. And what do we call that?
Cancer,
Yes. And what do we do to cancer?
pathogens, usually
No.
we consume them with white blood cells.
We destroy them. And so in a future where we're all Neuralinked and we're all being given our roles and to each according to their need and from each according to their capabilities, what ends up happening then is this nightmare dystopia where you rip the Neuralink out of your neck and you're like, I just want to be me, and then you're hunted down by law enforcement who are all AI-linked mindless drones, and then they destroy you, liquefy your body, and convert you into resource.
I don't think you'd ever want to want to disengage from the species.
Cancer exists.
I mean, that's true. And maybe what I'm saying is I'm looking at stripping humanity of joy and pain and love and hate and all these things that make it so wonderful but awful to be a human. But at the same time, man, those kids pulling cobalt out of the mines in Africa where people are just like, let's not look at that. Like, come on, man. It's like, how many thousands of kids are getting poisoned right now, clawing at that stuff for us to get our cell phones?
And yes. And now, do you weep for the skin cells that die and are reflect off your body? In an AI neural net world, when your brain is plugged into the machine, you'll know all about it, and you will not care. The people who are mining the cobalt won't care either. They'll just be the dead cells flaking off into the wind.
But I feel like we would be working out of our way to make sure humans don't have to suffer through that stuff if we were all one unit.
If your brain is linked to a neural net where everyone is like one hive, they wouldn't be suffering. There would no longer be a you. They would be mindless drones.
I don't think they'd be mindless.
They'd be mindless.
I don't think we have to worry about this prior to November 24, correct?
I think you're right.
I think let's take it 1 year at a time because there's a lot going on.
You
I
want
think.
to answer these big philosophical
Well,
questions
no, I
with
mean
us?
it's a fascinating Pandora's box. But to get back to this coming 20, this is the last show of the year, right, Tim?
This is the last show of the year.
So a truly free press empowers people to make decisions for themselves, and that's what this movement is all about. I mean, you know, the press is putting things in simplifications and stereotypes and obfuscation and all types of carefully woven tapestry of words that obfuscate, and then you just have Elon Musk's X and whistleblowers. And this is all about empowering people to make decisions because they have access to information they previously did not. And it's the lack of transparency in the world that is the advantage to the evil. So the theory, the white pill, is by making the world more transparent than it's ever been. Not mind shit. I don't even know about that. That's a metaphysical thing that I have to sleep on that. But let's just take it to the next level. Just having access to inside of airlines, inside of the DHS, inside the IRS, inside the FBI, if those walls could talk. Imagine if the American people could see that and hear that for themselves. Imagine that. I actually think that the whatever the outcome would be the correct one. But right now, people have no idea what's happening, and we're debating facts. Well, it's the greatest tragedy of modern society is we debate facts. Why are we debating facts? We shouldn't be.
But we've made so many things subjective, right? They shouldn't be, but there is a whole bent of like, I mean, I'll bring it up every show, but the gender stuff, right? Saying, well, gender is different than sex, and this is why you can feel this way, but actually this is
that's one thing. I think that there's economic incentive to focus on these kind of issues that divide people.
So wouldn't that be true for anything that is a fact that people try to manipulate? They probably have an incentive to do so.
Corruptive, coercive power of the federal government, the weaponization of the federal government of innocent Americans. I think these are winning issues, and the majority of people. I also think chopping off private parts off little boy, that's a winning issue. 90% of people think that's wrong. I think if people could see and hear the stench, the rot for themselves, that's why I'm a white pill guy. Because I know it's going to happen. It's already happening.
And you have people who come from inside and come out and tell you, hey, I want to talk about this because I think it's wrong.
Yeah,
that must be a very uplifting experience.
It's a heavy experience. It's heavy. And actually, Tim, one of the things I've learned is that, we were talking about this off air, is that it's hard for, I got to be careful who I surround myself with.
Oh yeah.
After what I've been through, and I've got a lot of people contacting me, I got to make sure people on my team, close to me, I can trust them.
Are people possessed?
Like parasites, yeah.
I believe so.
Look, the stuff I've learned about your story, the stuff I've experienced, it feels like one day a demon enters their brain and takes them over.
Dude, I think they're literal parasites in your gut. I'm about to do some combo. It's this toad venom. Apparently you puke up parasites and they just come out. Luke Rukowski has a We Are Change video from 7 years ago.
I think there's much simpler ways. The combo stuff is about like experiencing death or something.
Yeah, but also a purge. It's a purge of the shit.
This is what you're doing for Christmas, Ian? No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ho, 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 baby, yeah. Take me there. No,
I'm not
shortly
into the
after.
weird hippy-dippy injecting yourself with
What I've
venom.
learned is my fight and many fights like this, it's almost like a fight against human nature. It's almost like a fight against self-interest, for goodness, or for truth, or for, not betraying your conscience. And there's a lot of people out there where the world is governed by people pursuing their own self-interest. So if you're going to run against that tide, you better make sure the people who are around you share those values, or your partner shares your values. If you're going to be on a mission against self-interest, and I think that's what it's going to take. You mentioned the founding fathers. Was it lives, fortune, sacred honor?
It's blood treasure and sacred honor.
Blood treasure, and they did that for each other.
They were risking their children. These are guys who were wealthy, had families, and they could have said, look, if we remain loyalists, the king will take care of us, and we let everyone else burn. Instead, they said, I will stand with the people of my community, even though they had landed gentry, and they told the king to screw off.
And they felt their children were at risk either way, right?
They said, well, what future will I leave for my children?
Yeah.
Then Franklin lost his kid. His son William refused to ever speak to him again because his son was a loyalist. He wouldn't leave the.
But this is such a modern experience.
And it was like, I got to do what's right.
Right.
It's my own son.
I think we all know people whose families don't speak to each other because of politics, right? I know people who are like, if you voted for Trump, I'll never speak to you again, right? Like, this is something we still experience today. But if you believe that your country is at risk, if you believe the future of the people you love could be damaged by an outcome, don't you feel morally obligated to act?
William Franklin was imprisoned by patriots from 76 to 78, and he was the chief leader of the Loyalists in New York City, organizing military units to fight back on the side of the British. He went to exile in Britain and lived in London until his death.
I never saw him again.
Crazy.
That's a wild sacrifice.
Sometimes doing the right thing and the hard thing are the same thing. I'm looking at a tip right now. I can't say what it is or who it is or where it is, but it's big, and I get these every 10 minutes. Quote, I don't know if this is major news, James, but I thought I would just do the right thing. And it reminds me of a quote by the big tobacco whistleblower, Jeffrey Wygant, in 1990s, asked by Mike Wallace, why are you doing this? You gave up everything. He goes, because it's right. He said, because it's right. So there are when we could all agree that that's a very tiny fraction of humans who would do that and say that. Therefore, Tim, my fight is a fight against human nature in many regards. And you said demonically possessed. When you're fighting against, and we all have demons, right? And every single one of us, unless you're a liar, we all have things that we're ashamed of, perhaps, that we've done. But if you're fighting for good, what's going to happen when you're fighting for good? You're going to be faced with, Tim, you're going to be faced with bad people doing bad things and saying bad things, and demons, you could say.
When you say right and wrong, I feel like that's should always be up for debate, because like transparency for the sake of transparency, I'm not into anymore. I considered it throughout life, but like national defense weapons programs like the Manhattan Project, we could not, if people had blown the whistle on that and given the specs, we talked about this at Turning Point, if they revealed open source the data for the nuclear bomb and Hitler got it and built it first, we'd all be speaking German.
Hang on, you the guy who just pitched that all of our thoughts should be public?
Well,
are not into transparency for transparency's sake?
If you could flip a switch, maybe, but yeah, there's some things that where you need.
I'm not following.
That's a good point. Thank you.
But the journalist there's a book written about this called The Custodians of Conscience. The Custodians of Conscience. The information revealer forms the moral values by releasing the information and testing and affirming what is and what is not moral. You realize that by going, oh, I called my company OMG. Oh my God. Like when the Pfizer guy is saying, we make fake things to lie to customers to make money, or BlackRock saying we control the world, we bribe politicians. Okay, that's wrong. And that's the kind of role of transparency, is it not? To test and affirm what is and what is not moral by revealing information that shocks the conscience. You're the custodian of the public's conscience.
They're gonna, like, quantum encryption hacking is a big technology. Like 2028, we're gonna start seeing people be able to go in and like open up the last 20 years of your bank records, like everyone on earth, their bank record, like, and so is that conscionable to do? Is it conscionable to do it just to some and not to others?
But do people need to know that it's happening is the question, right? Do people know that that's occurring, or should they know that that's occurring?
I think so, but sometimes, yes. In that instance, yes. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes there are things that are happening that if people know, they panic, and that could do more harm than keeping them in the dark.
That's the balance that you have to strike as the publisher of the information. Some things should not be. Some things ought to be kept secret. But I think you derive your sense of morality through the reporting process, and the public changes their sense of what is right and wrong based upon whether it tugs at their conscience. The word is conscience, I would say. You know what people don't remember is the Declaration of Dependence.
Want to tell me about it?
So, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia made the joke where they envisioned back in the olden days during the Revolutionary period, and Mac and Dennis are scared that the rebellion in Philadelphia will result in them losing their bar or whatever. So they're like, we need to tell the British that we support them. And so they bring this Declaration of Independence that's actually a crude drawing of someone raping a queen or something like that. But there actually was a Loyalist Declaration, and I'm trying to get, I don't know too much about it, but I have this from the New York Historical Society Museum Library. It was a Loyalist petition to the Crown that some people refer to as the Declaration of Independence, where the Loyalists said they had risked their lives and fortunes opposing the most unnatural, unprovoked rebellion that ever disgraced the annals of time. The Loyalists sought some level of distinction from the inhabitants in general. They were asking the Crown to alleviate them of the martial law, as they were Loyalists. The funny thing is, the Crown is illegal. There you go. It is what it is.
So they appealed to the authority, and what does that show that authority was evil because they ignored their pleas?
Well, it's funny because the Patriots were like, this thing is an oppressive force. And then the Loyalists were like, hey, we're on your side, help us. And he was an oppressive force on them too. So, yeah, get what you get. But, I bring this up because we don't sit here and talk about the men who risked their fortune to serve the Crown. No one cares about that. The British people care about that. They don't. Like, I was talking to Carl Benjamin. I was like, you guys, like, what's this? You saw it on Britain and then Revolution. He's like, hey, our history is like, what, like 1,200 years. Like, this was like a small 20-year period. Not 1,000 years. It's on our radar. It's like in Africa, so we had a lot of colonies. We learned about all the colonies we had, not just you. You know, he didn't say it exactly like that, but he was basically saying it. I like the American Revolution.
Not that, because that was non-violent, essentially. I don't know too much about it, actually. I'd love to learn more about it.
Well, I gotta say, the colonization of India is, I think, perhaps one of the greatest things that has ever happened. Because it resulted in chicken tikka masala and butter chicken, of course, which were invented in London, but nonetheless, inspired by India,
Cumin,
I guess.
turmeric, delicious coriander.
All right, let's
Oh,
go.
apparently yoga was like a military training exercise back in the day. I didn't
Well,
know
it's like
this.
a religious, spiritual thing.
But it came from actual, that's what they call it, Warrior One. Like there's actual, they wouldn't let women do it, and it was just for warrior training, like for military training, stretching, all these things to get ready for battle.
You know what I love in the UK? Yorkie bars. Not for girls.
What's that?
The Yorkie is a chocolate bar, and it says not for girls. It's a picture of a girl, and it's circled a line through it. No, girls can't have it. I don't think they could do that in the United States. I think it'd be illegal. Anyway, we're going to Super Chats. If you haven't already, would you kindly smash that like button? Subscribe to this channel, my friends. This is it. The final show of 2023, because after this, it's Christmas. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. This is a Christmas travel weekend. It's going to be a nightmare for everybody. And then we're off for the rest of the week. Basically the way it works, especially with Christmas falling on, it's on Monday, right? It is literally impossible to do shows. Nothing we can do about it. So I think the first year we were like, no, we'll like obviously Christmas off, but we'll try and get people that nobody will come.
Nobody.
I mean, come on, what sane person is like, yes, I'd like to travel after Christmas from my family's house straight to your studio to do a show, and then have New Year's in a different city? It just doesn't happen.
I would love to go through the airport at that time of year.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to do that.
Spend some time with your friends, and if you have friends that don't have a place to go, invite them over.
Yeah, New Year's. This will be fun. Let's read some super chats. Right. Shane H. Wilder says, Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope it's a joyful one. Jackson Glass, with not a single word, but one, the first super chat. Congratulations, sir.
Good job, Jackson.
Oh, I want to let you guys know something, too. For everybody who bought the song, Together Again, the first week is over. This is launch week. We're now, I don't know if the Billboard charts come out Tuesday or next week, the week after Tuesday, which will be January 2nd. Not sure. But we are going to email every single person that bought the song with a promo code for 35% off Cast Brew, because some people were unsure how to do it and how to use it, and then we're going to extend. Just for one, we really do want you to buy the coffee. So it's a promo for us. But just to make sure, there were a lot of people emailed in saying, I'm not quite sure how to get it. Don't worry about it. We're going to send everybody an email. You'll get your code, and you can buy all the coffee at a huge discount. Thank you so much for supporting us and buying the song. This was the biggest release we have done yet. It was more sales, more views, more everything. I owe a lot of that to the Daily Wire crew. Jeremy Boring and Michael Knowles also helped push. Considering they have the writing credit on it, it's like the lyrics were all theirs. It was inspired by their song, though we made a different version of it. They were absolutely a part of helping promote it, so shout out to the Daily Wire crew. All right, Neurodivergent says, James, ex-dancer here giving you moonwalk props.
I can moonwalk, I can break dance, I can sing Oklahoma, and I'm coming back to Tim's studio to produce some music. It's
Absolutely.
a great story. I did dance parties. I went to the AmFest trying to sell journalism classes, and I sold out my class, but thousands of people asked me, where's my next James O'Keefe party? So we may need to have those regularly every month. We're going to sell the tickets. It'll be the greatest thing you've ever seen. Have you seen O'Keefe dance? Okay. It's like you wouldn't believe.
Using ours before I use yours.
You've got 3 weeks. You need to set up a party in Iowa.
To see how much it's going to be
Caucus.
because
Yeah, that would be so
Party
fun.
in Iowa? Well, actually, that's not a bad idea.
because you're gonna lose gold by me finishing it and doing this, right? So at least whatever I use from here still goes into our store and makes money, right? And then so is that 22 carat?
Yeah, you convinced me.
You're gonna do it?
I'm gonna do it.
You're gonna do it? And then pay it off as you go?
Yeah.
Dude, let's go look for a chain for me too. Let's go together. Let's go together. Let's go together. It's been a long day, Pete. It's been a long day.
Oh shit. Going to the bathroom is like a fucking travesty.
Mm.
I feel like I gotta go and comes out. Push.
Yeah.
It voluntarily pushes. It's weird shit. Down on the rack. You know what I'm saying? One coming ripping down my fucking leg. I was hurt that fucking hemorrhoids.
Yeah, you gotta take care of yourself.
Yeah, well, you know, I haven't been eating at home a lot. We've been eating out
Yeah.
because of our schedule. But I need you to do me a favor though, because we're bros, so I have a clue.
What you need?
Hmm?
What you need?
I need you to look at my ass and see if it's Yo, that didn't work? No?
Gotta go.
Something what happened?
Yeah.
What you? What happened? I got a problem. Oh, I thought something. I may have come to like it.
Yeah, just go take it easy. Go take it easy. Take it easy, Pete.
Idea.
January 15th caucus. Everyone's going to be there. We're actually
January 15th?
Yes,
we're
yeah,
working out the
okay.
details for IRL Live. It's all preliminary,
My
but
chief of staff's gonna hate me. I'm sending him.
I mean, look, we get hit up and we're like, would you guys want it? Like, hey, I got an idea for you. Do IRL from the Iowa caucus, and we're like, that is a good idea. We've
So
got
it's the
3
Iowa
weeks.
caucus is
fun.
what day?
The 15th.
At O'Keefe, Iowa caucus dance party.
Stop.
yeah.
Best thing ever.
And now, but hold on. And Super Tuesday, March 5th, James O'Keefe Super Tuesday Super Party.
Super Tuesday.
And you can-
Where? What state?
You gotta pick one.
March 5th?
Because you got Super Tuesday. It's so many different
All right,
states.
we'll figure it out.
Texas is Texas Super Tuesday.
Dude, you guys put on a Slayer after show at Amfest. I got invited out, but we were already.
you go?
No, I was. We got a jet back, so I missed
Oh,
it. It sounded awesome.
you missed an unbelievable party. It's I don't know what happened. I guess it's just the O'Keefe parties are lit. Let's go to that.
Patriot Punk Network says, I am the Patriot Punk for the Patriot Punk Network. James is my hero. We just released a new expose on a corrupt sheriff in Tennessee. Please give a shout out to PCSO Exposed to help us fight corruption. Shout out.
Shout
There you
out.
go.
Texas isn't Super Tuesday, but it's Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Iowa, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee. Oh no, Texas is on
Tennessee.
here. Utah, Vermont, Virginia.
Texas.
Tennessee.
Nashville.
Right.
Nashville's where it's at.
In Nashville, Super Tuesday,
Nashville.
James O'Keefe dance party.
Ben Shapiro shows up, just dominates the dance floor.
But what's really funny is everyone always makes fun of the dancing and
Oh, he lives in Florida, sorry.
everyone's always like, oh, the theater, and then they secretly like the event. Hey, can I get a ticket to the party though? Every
Well,
time.
they're all-
Every time.
they're all-
Every time.
They rag on it.
Your secret is safe with me, okay? I protect my sources.
They rag on it, and then they go, James, moonwalk.
Jason. It's like that scene with the where they throwing rocks at Michael J. Fox. He's doing the moonwalk. They love when they do the moonwalk. Michael Jackson.
All right. Jay Marie says James O'Keefe has huge. What is this? Huevos?
Huevos.
Sorry.
Huevos.
They spelled it W-E-V-O-S.
Well, because I'm always like-
I know what they meant because it's spelled with a J.
Because I'm like, you guys need to grow a pair of balls. And I'm like, but I'm a woman. I don't have balls. So I'm like, all right, huevos. You have huevos. Testicular fortitude.
Fertilize your eggs.
So huevos is eggs, so that works for the ladies.
Eggs, balls. It's a metaphor.
But no, I'm saying that works for the ladies because
It does. That's why. That's why I think they may have been referencing something I've said to various.
I was just poking fun for spelling it W-E-V-O-S.
Oh, they spelled it like that.
Right. I believe it's J-U-E-V-O-S.
Yeah.
No, it's huevos. It's H.
Huevos.
Huevos. See, I don't even know how to spell it. What do we got? Here we are. Mr. Wise Guy Play says, will you read this? The answer is yes. I play games and share my opinions. It's only a hobby for now. It's called Mr. Wise Guy. 3 channels. It's W-H-Y-Z. Interesting. Good luck, good sir. Beep Beep says, James, are you still looking for an EA or has that role been filled?
No, it's not been filled. Part of the challenge, I'm going to do extreme vetting, okay? I have 200 resumes. It's still open. You can apply at O'Keefe. My email is james@o'keefemediagroup.com. Please send me a cover letter. It has to be specific about why you want to work there, and resume, james@o'keefemediagroup.com if you want to be positions in New Jersey right now. And then you have to be willing to travel all the time.
Do you sing, James?
I do.
Are there any songs you like top 40s you know off the top of your head?
Top 40 right now?
Yeah.
I don't know enough to know what's in the top 40, but you know.
I just mean like big songs that something Ian might know how to play. I know, it's just tough. It's like,
Man, how about that song by Miley Cyrus, Flowers?
I don't think Ian knows how to play.
I can look up the chords of any song pretty much in if I know it. I
That one has like 3 chords.
While they're looking this up, Gamer Weenus says Infringed was great, worth the watch. Thanks for all your hard work. Merry Christmas. It was super good, super good. And maybe what we'll do is now that it's had its run. Basically, we did the promo. We can release it on the Timcast channel for like a couple bucks. Like, so you go on YouTube, they have this thing where it's like you can pay a couple bucks and it'll play for you. I think that'd be pretty cool. We could probably just do that. That way, it's like, you know, it goes from the movie theaters to then the video store and then, you know, whatever. That'll be what we'll do. And so we could do the same with Game of Money and put them up on YouTube for like $1.99 or something. That's a great idea. Yeah, people can watch them.
Very cool.
Yeah. We're working on more. We got more awesome stuff to come. Andrew Ho says, everyone forgets the great predictor movie Die Hard 4 that educated us on the fire sale cyber attack to wipe out the power grid, drain Social Security monetary resources, etc. It was good. Yep, I like that movie.
Don't people think one of the Die Hards is a Christmas movie?
The first one,
The first one?
because it happens during Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I've
So,
never seen it, so I can't.
it's a semantic argument. What is a Christmas movie? Is a Christmas movie a movie about someone going through the process of Christmas and Santa comes and then they have presents? Or is a Christmas movie a movie that is
Set at Christmas time.
right, or involving Christmas as a component of the story?
Interesting.
I think it's about Christmas because if you like played a rock song in the country, it wouldn't be a country song just because it's in the country.
But that's not what we're saying, right? Is Jurassic Park a dinosaur movie?
Yes.
Of course, it's about dinosaurs, right? But what if there was is Godzilla a dinosaur movie?
Technically, I guess.
This is where people are like, well, yeah, like Godzilla's basically a dinosaur, a gigantic monster lizard, rampaging. If you made a movie about a giant monster, like a giant T-Rex rampaging through city streets, would you call it a dinosaur movie? And it's like, well, it's not. It's a dinosaur's in it, but it's like a part of the
It's not
story.
a dinosaur movie. That's a good point.
But this is what the argument is. Die Hard happens during Christmas, and Christmas is a theme. It's a Christmas party, and then they make Christmas references. But it's not a movie about delivering presents to your family. Is Home Alone a Christmas movie?
I always think it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Die Hard is.
Yeah.
Because Home Alone's a movie about a kid who gets left at home. The Christmas element of it is meaningless. And that was during Christmas too.
Yeah,
It's
and
right,
they leave
yeah.
him because of Christmas. They're
Right.
traveling as a family out, so it affects the plot.
So it's a Christmas.
Christmas
Everyone agrees
trees.
it's a Christmas movie, but at what point in the movie is it like you got to race to get the presents, and then there is where he meets Santa and everything. I get that.
Yeah. And Donald Trump makes an appearance in one of those movies, right?
Second one,
Definitely.
Lost in New York. Was that a Christmas movie?
Yeah, because they all happen at Christmas,
Except
right?
that Die Hard is too.
Oh.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like all the kid
Yeah,
does
watch
is
it.
mercilessly maim and wound two burglars. You know what I mean?
It's a crime fight
Over and
Christmas
over
music
again.
movie. That's very
But
interesting.
hold on.
Daniel Stern's
Merry Christmas and Home Alone are like almost the same movie.
Never saw Merry Christmas.
What's Die Hard guy's name? Wow, I can't believe I forgot.
The actor or
No, the character.
Mr. Die Hard.
John McClane.
McClane? Yeah, we got to.
What is he doing? He's sneaking around, playing pranks on these terrorists, right? It's a bit more direct, but the terrorists like walk in the room, and then like the walkie-talkie goes off, and they come in, and then he just beats the crap out of them, and then he's got the gun taped to his back. It's the same story, you know, kind of.
Die Hard and Home Alone.
James
In the
Blake
end,
doesn't agree that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
He's got his shirt off, and he's got a gun duct taped to his back, and then he's like yippee-ki-yay, and he grabs it,
Just like Santa.
just like when the paint can falls down and hits Murray in the face.
Love that scene.
Interesting.
He steps on the broken glass.
You guys remember when Family Guy spoofed Home Alone?
No.
They like walk in the house, and the one guy's like, a paint can swings down. Like, oh, that was weird. And he's like, yeah, there was some glue on the porch, but I just walked over it. Yeah, the doorknob was hot. I just let go. And then the kid, Kevin McAllister, goes, haha, I've got you now. And he goes, bang, and just shoots him. And he's like, all right, you want to steal stuff? Yeah. They're like, now Home Alone with competent burglars.
It's great. And this is like no witnesses or whatever. Too.
Right,
It's
yeah.
so funny. It's so good.
Where are we at? Let's grab, what is this? Is This Dom says Rothschild LLC bought a large amount of Boeing shares today. BlackRock, State Street, and others boosted their existing Boeing holdings as well. They're gearing up for World War III. Maybe, but the implication is if they're buying stock, they don't intend the world to fail. They think at some point someone will want to buy those stocks as well. So, you know, that's the thing. When people start buying up water, like if I don't know, like Mark Zuckerberg was going to spend $250 million on, say, like a Hawaiian emergency underground bunker with like massive private security, then I'd be worried, right? Oh wait, he did that. Anyway, no, to be fair, Zuckerberg bought a massive mansion on one of the westernmost islands of Hawaii, and it includes a 5,000 square foot bunker. The media makes it seem more like he's building a $250 million emergency bunker in the middle of nowhere. To be fair, however, most of the ultra-wealthy are doing that. So, you know, as soon as they start flying to New Zealand or to Montana to their mountain bunkers, I think a bunch of them have deep mountain bunkers in like Wyoming and Montana.
Watch what they do, not what they say.
Exactly. They're like, everything is fine, the stocks are great, and they're doing a live feed as they're lowering into like a submarine going to their underwater, well, you know, a rumor is the ultra wealthy have built a city underwater.
I thought it was under the Denver airport.
No, they built it underwater,
Oh.
where they can be free from regulation. Yeah, they call it Rapture.
I want to go there.
We make every single day on this show. We make Bioshock references. Every day in the chat there is a poll. Would you kindly share and like the show? Would you kindly? Yeah.
I don't know what Bioshock is.
One of the best video games ever made.
First-person shooter
Okay.
RPG. It's awesome.
Adding down to my cold.
It's
underwater.
a sci-fi fantasy based off of like objectivist ideas from like the Fountainhead and Atlas
Oh,
Shrugged.
that's cool.
The boss is literally named Atlas. And the story is basically ultra-wealthy people build a city underwater to escape regulation. And a core component of the story is that gene splicing becomes rampant because there's no regulations. And people are injecting themselves with genetic modification that gives them powers. And so, in the first one, I love it, in the original Bioshock, because you'll get, I forget what they're called. It's been so long since I played it. But it actually shows the arms, and then it goes like, it sticks the needle in the arm, and then fire comes out of his hand. But then when they did Bioshock Infinite, he's drinking a soda.
That's how he gets it. He drinks it.
Yeah, in Bioshock Infinite, I think they were like, the injecting into the arm is not very family friendly.
Close to
So
the opioid
he
crisis.
cracks a
yeah.
soda and drinks it, and it's like, come on. But then some people end up becoming deranged from splicing, and so they're like, and they're all messed up.
Regulation ain't all bad.
That's true. What do we got? Gabriel Lopez says a country is not an idea of a piece of paper, they are a people. If you switch the entire population of U.S. and Brazil, the Constitution would be taken down overnight and everything would Brazilify. Immigration, legal or illegal, will kill Americans. It's over. A country is its people, that's right. Did you figure out how to play Miley Cyrus?
I have the chords. I just don't know.
We could sing
the
something
rhythm.
more simple, like "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning." Is that too old school?
I like it.
It's very simple. It's very.
This is your big break, James. You better not screw it up.
No.
Friday night jam session with James O'Keefe.
This is from like 1939 right now.
What about House of the Rising Sun?
House of the Rising Sun.
That one's easy. What are the chords for that? What is that? A, C, D, F?
I'm a bass too, so it's gonna be low octave.
Wow, there's a lot of chords in Ode of Beautiful Morning.
There is a
Yeah, but
house.
what, House of the Rising Sun? You know the
D
words
major
House of the Rising
7.
Sun.
I'm not gonna be able to play that one.
House of the Rising Sun?
How's I can play that one?
Yeah, it's 4 chords.
You got 2 minutes.
It should. Yeah, it might have slipped.
There is a house in New Orleans.
Was it A minor, C, D, F?
They
Is that what it
call the right.
is? A minor, C, D, F?
There is.
Yeah, well, it is A minor, C, D, F. Then it goes A minor,
minor.
E, A minor, E.
Yep.
That's probably the chorus or something.
No, that is just like the last part of the, and God, I know I'm one. That's
Yes, sir.
A minor, E, A minor.
Oh, okay.
A minor, E, A minor, E.
Yeah, let's rock.
Or is it E, A minor, E, A minor?
Did you get a pick over there?
What up, brother?
Of course.
Nice.
Bro.
Bro, prepared, homie.
What room is this?
I should have one on me. Thanks.
We are going to close out this year with a very short, very simple Friday night jam session. James O'Keefe brings you House of the Rising
I
Sun.
knew the first part of the song. Is it just the repeat of the
Yeah.
first part? Same thing.
This is
Da,
great.
da,
You got the, you want to pull up the lyrics and
I got the lyrics.
Why are we not doing this?
Name the
you hear that? Okay. So I'll just do that again.
Are you making
No,
this
you
shit?
didn't play right.
That's what it says
There
here.
is
Hold on.
a house down New Orleans.
How? How do you like do that? How do you do that shit though? Like, do you have to mold it?
You can, or hand make it, or
They call the rising sun.
Give yourself double the room so we get the reverb when you're singing it.
And it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Tim's joining in on guitar.
Who else
Buddy.
has ever heard the song?
You're allowed to play it.
I don't know.
Is it the mother?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you out of here? Hasta la vista mañana, inshallah.
Hasta la vista. Check it. Take it easy, brother. What happened? What happened? Yes, we should. Oh, no. No, you're good, dude. You're good. I just got random stuff just playing.
Still no bueno?
No, dude, I gotta do something different actually
Okay. So,
because
if that's gonna be too difficult to do,
no, it's not necessarily too difficult to do. I just gotta do something different.
would that be easier?
Dude, you're gonna need way more gold to even get that done.
How much more gold?
Like a shit ton. Like, you're gonna need like an ounce and a half. Like that was the issue with this is because I don't have hot glue here, because like I need to like cap off those like little sections and whatnot because it's just all I gotta take that stone out, which causes for a lot, and then it's gonna fill all the inside, so I gotta cut that out as well too. Or just do it literally like the super old school way, which is probably what I'm just gonna do. Roll out a sheet, flare it out like a wing, wrap it around the stone, right? Make the ring that way. So.
No, but no urgency. I guess I can listen more. Just kidding.
Give me that 22 karat chain, I'll make it happen.
Well, that's what I wanted this for, is for the 22 karat chain. Tell me that wouldn't go hard. I might even throw in the owl for that.
You don't have enough, you don't now.
What about with this too? This little guy.
Dude, you're gonna need like an ounce and a half.
Ounce and a half.
I'll put you on the see if we can close in 15 minutes. If anybody wants to.
It's
I'll set
eight.
the timer.
I'm sure we can.
I'll set the timer. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Set it.
I don't know if it's
Set go.
I wanna close at 9. Can't we close at 9? I think that's good. No, I didn't. See. Here we go. About 50. Oh, they actually want to like close in 15 minutes. Shoot. I don't want to.
Come on.
Second verse.
No, that one's it.
That was it.
Did
Good.
you already get the ball and chain part?
I think that's good. That's there we go. That was
What fun new thing.
I've got an original I'd like to play for you guys. It's the first song I ever wrote.
And the crosswinds.
Yeah, check this out. I'll sing it up top, I'll play it down here. First song I ever wrote. It's called On Walking. Oh, thanks, Serge. Let's just do this. Serge is gonna throw me a microphone.
I think the single mic works as long as it's right in between and you back up a little.
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah, these are podcast mics, so if you want to sing into them, you pull them back so that you get the room, you know. It's a little too low though.
What is?
To get your voice. Actually, you're probably good. You're probably good.
Don't you pick me up on the road again? We're all just friends, human. Being there, alone again, walking
see you when I'm home again. Show you that I am strong. Yeah, when I see you around, I'll put my feet on the ground, 'cause we're everything. Be shameful, be naive. Pale color is your dream. You're something strange. You're something abnormally, something unpredictably irresistible to me. Something in a rut. I got stuck, got no luck, got no key to the door that I locked. Pass it by or break it down. It's time to face the cloud, and I'll find a way to refrain. Then stay this plane. So strange, so strange, so strange that I made myself pass me by or break it down. It's time to face the cloud. I'll find a way to refrain. 'Cause I made myself.
All right, James, what else do you know?
No, you have to sing a Christmas carol now. It's Christmas.
You guys, give me some options and I'll sing. Give me some different options.
Glycerine by Bush.
No way. You guys are not festive
That's
at
my
all right
favorite song.
now.
What else?
Come on.
What else?
No, we want
we want
The
Christmas.
point is top 40s, big hit. James O'Keefe.
Give me a couple
All
options.
I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey.
I can sing that one. That's a good one. That's a
Right
everyone
before
loves that one.
Christmas?
Come on, let's do that.
Yes,
how to play?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
We might be able to figure it out.
Yes, I'm loving this optimism.
That's like the most famous Christmas song of all time.
Yes, yes.
Let's do that one. We can figure this out.
Christmas.
I mean, it's not a complicated song.
It's not
C,
complicated.
E minor, C, D.
Yeah, you can do it. Everyone's talented.
Good.
I would have to
Show.
listen to the song.
All right, let's listen to it for a second.
Key of G. Oh yeah, this is it.
Just listen to the first hit.
And C minor. Ooh, this is a little complicated.
You just gotta get those chords.
We're not getting it.
Oh, no, you're not gonna do it.
We're not gonna get it.
It's too difficult.
It's not that it's difficult. It's that something like House of the Rising Sun is 4 chords.
I see.
You're done.
I see.
So if we're gonna pull up a random song right now and just play it without having heard it, it's
Next
easy
year.
to be like.
Next year, last year will be your
I
poor
could-
Christmas.
I could play the iPad way back here, and you guys can kind of strum along. You want to try that? Here we go.
No, we no.
I mean,
no.
can you
That's
do
too
that
much,
as a
too
copyright?
Yeah, we can't.
Yeah,
we
can't
can't.
do that. Okay.
Right. Even with covers, it's kind of
I
weird.
appreciate the effort, though. It is a
Instrumentals.
classic.
It's such a great song.
It is a classic.
But pick a few
What,
options.
is there anybody who's got suggestions in the chat? Because we're gonna
Maybe there's suggestions.
wrap it up in a second.
It's not that complicated, but it's what copyright, so we don't.
No, it's that like if we're gonna actually play it right, I would need to listen to the song, figure out what the chords are.
C minor
Next year for
6.
Christmas,
I don't know.
when you're signed to the label, we'll come
You can-
back
you
to the
can-
whole Christmas album.
You can rip the whole thing down to 4 chords and ignore whatever the actual song
I
is.
like that C minor though.
Silent Night, Jingle Bells, Baby It's Cold
Last
Outside,
Christmas
Oh,
by
classic.
Wham. Last Christmas.
That's a great song.
Yeah.
in my heart. Can you do that?
Wonderwall.
That's not
That's
Christmas at all.
Wonderwall. What else you got? Keep going.
What about Last Christmas is hot?
How about Last Christmas? Can we do that?
That's a lot of 7 chords. Let's see. Last Christmas.
Can you do that one?
Nope. Hallelujah.
Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears. Which one? Oh. How about Everybody Wants to Change the World?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your one.
Everybody wants to rule the world.
Everybody Wants to Rule.
I think I know that song well enough to maybe be able to.
Let's try it.
I just retweeted them playing it
Lyrics.
live. They're so good.
As long as you get the pitch right.
It's
Welcome to your.
There's not enough
Welcome
vocals.
to your life. There's no turning back. Even while. Can you get that?
Yeah, maybe. It's
Is that the right key? Welcome. Welcome to your life. There we go.
There's just nothing really there.
You want me to start?
Yeah, you want to play it? I think we got it.
I don't think so.
Ready to rock?
I
You can
don't
play
think
that
so.
beat like that. I can play the rhythm.
But that's.
Here we go, keep going. Dun, dun. Here we go. Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to work. Keep going, keep going. It's my own desire. It's my only remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the world stop being hear the lyrics. Something I can't remember the words. Everybody wants to move. Here's the bridge. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands while the walls keep tumbling down. When they do, I'll be right behind you. I'm so glad we've almost made it. I'm so sad they had to fade. Everybody wants to work.
6 on the A, yeah. I wish I had a bigger screen.
There's one more little part here. Ready? It says, I can't stand this indecision. Stand this indecision. Married live the lack of vision. Everybody wants to.
So this is just the chorus. Say that you'll never.
I can't do that part.
You want to keep going?
That was pretty good.
We got what we needed out of it.
That was great.
What a great song.
I can't go higher. I can't stand this indecision. That's too high for my vocal cords.
Let's see.
Got an octave below
Yeah,
there.
it's all about getting it out.
Mariah Carey would do it though.
I can't. I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need, and I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. Acapella. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is you.
That was amazing. I think acapella. That was incredible.
Acapella.
What a Christmas gift to the audience. Mariah Carey is shaking in her boots right now.
All right, Tim, what's your next one? You get one.
I don't got any ones.
You want to play one of yours?
I don't know.
90s.
What's the one? What's the next one? The next big one coming out in 2024.
The next song we're doing?
Yeah. What do you want to do next?
I don't know. So the song that we're working on, where Ian did the body transformation, it takes 48 hours to render 10 seconds of the video because it's all like heavy CGI and crazy effects. So that one might be done by mid-January, but we've got, I think, we might have 2 other songs that are done that are just sitting there unreleased because we're like, oh. But I think by March we might have like between 8 and 10 songs. So I don't know.
I've got a new one I just wrote I could play, or I could do Come Down by Bush, which I really like a lot.
Do you know the words to Come Down?
Do I know the melody is the question. The words I can look up.
Well, there's got to be something simpler and better that everybody knows.
Right.
Yeah.
Loving, hey, get it wrong. Cut me right back down to size. Sleep the day, let it fade. Who is there to take your place? No one knows.
All right, I am out of here. And back tomorrow. Laters.